What is good, rookies? Welcome in to our Supercoach After Dark. We have many things to discuss tonight. First one being Brad's late. So make sure you guys give him some crap when he comes in. Eventually. So, look who's joined the backstage. Hold on, everyone. Let's get this slack ass in the chat. Let me get the system ready to go.
What's going on, mate? How are you?
Oh, well, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. I just had to take the dog in, and then all of a sudden I just had one too many coffees, so I had to run. So, if you know what I mean.
Sounds like you and JG are on the same wavelength.
Just about, just different ends, I guess.
That's it. That's it. Boy, we've got a bit to talk about. We've had some really good, interesting games so far this round, I think.
Yeah, we have actually. It's been good for my side so far, but I feel like I'm anti-potting a lot of highly owned players. I'm not sure if you're in the same boat, but our boy Richards did well finally.
Oh, I saw him get up to like 118 and then he got scaled back a little bit. So I was a little bit disappointed, but again, not going to complain. In a world where Neil's going around the 80s or 91, I think he ended up on.
Yep.
You take that difference. So we were planning to have a few more guests on tonight, but one of them had continued shits. Unlike Brad. Brad was able just to keep it in reins. JG, unfortunately, weaker stomach. You know, being a Don supporter, it's a trait. It's a trait. So hopefully he's in here so we can keep giving him some heat. But let's get stuck into the first comments. Now, we did have Daniel Green first in at 7 p.m. when I pretty much set up the stream, saying he cannot wait. Now, shout out to Daniel because he is actually become the first member of the channel since we've activated it. So big shout out to Daniel. Awesome stuff, mate. Appreciate the support. We also had Studi come in at 7:30, who said he brought in the suitcase and VC'd him.
Damn.
My goodness. That is a solid move. What have you thought of the suitcase so far? He's obviously been a bit of the pod, kind of like the Hewitt pick, which I'm reluctant to talk about. But they seem to be doing the job.
I kind of think him and Hewitt will be top 12 this year, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, nothing changes. Like, if this is the tag target season where all the number one bananas are kind of having their ups and downs and potentially shifting roles to help the team. I know we've had kind of conversations in chats where Neil, for example, seems to be that guy that when he cops the tag, he's stepping back to allow the team to, step up. Does that potentially alter how we should choose our picks?
It shouldn't necessarily. Like, these guys that are primo should be able to shake a tag, but they're showing that they can't, even with players that aren't really taggers. But probably maybe the second guy, maybe not the third banana, but second guy, as you were talking at the start of the season about, it's probably where it's at. But also, even you're seeing the second guy get tagged now as well. Like, look at Rosie, doesn't get tagged because of Butters. I know Butters only come back, but don't know if I really want to get a third banana. But McCluggage has always been sort of on breakout notice, but he's always played a lot of wing, so it's just such a weird pick that he's playing so well now.
Yeah, it's also interesting talking about the Brisbane mids because we were unsure on like Will Ashcroft at the start of the season because of the strength of the mids.
Yep.
We didn't really consider that the strength of the mids would mean that they're all playing quite well. I mean, like Dunkley's been very, very consistent. It's his lowest game today, and I think he only had like an 89. He was 2 points behind Neil, and that's his lowest score so far. They're very consistent. And then Suitcase has gone well. Well, Ashcroft had quite a start, but he's now gone, what was it, back-to-back 120 pluses?
Yeah, something like that. I even noticed that Levi went 90, so it's like all their mids score well, but I'm actually not as tempted to grab a Brisbane mid now because they all point share in the midfield, if that makes sense. Like, there might be a couple ceiling games, but I'm actually more worried I don't really want a Target or a Dunkley or Neil because they all take points off each other because they're so damn good.
And that's exactly it, right? Is, you look at, I think the difference with McCluggage as well is that he obviously has his disposals, and he had 84% disposal efficiency, but he also had 6 tackles. Like, he seems to be that perfect combination of like a Neil and a Dunkley, whereas Dunkley, you're probably more relying on the inside game.
Yep.
You know, like McCluggage also had 6 clearances, one behind Ashcroft. Neil had 11. Tested possessions is up there. Like, he's got a really good overall balance. So it just screams that maybe he was a pick. And same with Hewitt. You know, maybe they were always picks and we just traditionally just didn't look at them.
Yep.
But it is what it is. Matthew says, I love Eric Hipwood. I mean, sure. Also says he means he benched Reed for trainer. So no access to the full score. What did he end up finishing on? I know there's probably scaling that's finished now. 104.
Oh, wow.
You love that from a rookie.
Yeah, you do.
So good. Surf Coast, Ultimate Pod, Bailey Smith has worked wonders this year. yeah. I think the bigger Ultimate Pod there is the Double Birds.
All the people that tried to anti-pod him, that's wild.
I was going to be one of them, but even I had to fold
Yeah.
because it was just that injury. It was a new team, you know, no preseason, didn't get a opening round, didn't get to watch too much of him. Turns out you didn't need to. You could just throw him into your side. 'Cause I'm pretty sure you started him, didn't you?
Yeah, I started him. The price for me was too tempting. Even if I thought he'd get rested, I thought at 380 or whatever he was a good enough price for me not to care.
For sure. Now, I know you've been big on Bice, like locked in for like D6, D7, not even going to trade him out.
Yep.
Stefan thinks Zach Reed D1.
That's even more crazy than what I'm going on.
That is.
He's probably taking a piss, but yeah, your backline's, funnily enough, a lot stronger than what we thought it would be this year. Like, coming into the first couple of rounds, we thought backline was dead. All of a sudden, our rookies are going nuts.
And that's a crazy shift, right? Is like we look at that. This particular game is probably a really good example, right? We had Reed, who started off really slow, who now pulled in a 104, whereas we had Lindsay, who was looking promising, finished on a 48.
Yep.
When they were kind of opposites a few weeks ago. So quite interesting to see. Lachlan is wondering, or more of a thought, track top 6 forward. Do you reckon he's still there? Still hasn't hit a ton, but is just on the surface, scoring a 96 tonight.
He's probably going to be top 6, you'd think, in the forward line. I'm probably going to grab him next week for Finn Callahan if Finn doesn't go well tomorrow.
Yeah, so you see it enough to reckon he's definitely a viable option with the DPP to throw into your forward line?
Well, we sort of saw Thilthorpe the other night do nothing, and then I don't know what Darcy scored. I imagine he would have scored a right, though, today, did he, as a key forward?
Who was that, sorry? Darcy?
Yeah, Darcy.
How did Darcy do? Let's have a look. I will. Let's move to this, and we'll get some screens up. Darcy, and 87.
So what you probably want Chad Warner and Track as your last two, and Horn Francis there as well. So probably you're going to grab him at some point. Yeah, and he's got
go.
Sorry, he's got a good fixture. Have a look at Trucker's fixture after next week.
Have a look. Let me bring up players. Let's go Brack. Let's share this. What do we got? So he had Essendon. He's got Freo, Richmond, West Coast. Yeah, he's got a nice fixture coming up too. So you bring him in really for the Freo game. Not going to get tagged. They might send the run with from McIntosh. Run with. And then West Coast as well. Hawks will be interesting. I wonder how well they're going to go with that day. Because that's going to put more pressure on Newcomb. Can they afford to throw the McGuinness tag out now with that major blow?
Yeah, maybe they can. And they send Nash to somebody else like Clary, and then they just try to work out the rest. I don't know.
Brisbane don't tag. He's still got Jordan and Winhanger. I don't think that, by the looks of it, I'd like to get your take on this. I'm not sure if you watched the Collingwood game. Obviously, they had Houston suspended, so they threw Perryman back. I think they tried the tag with the Perryman as a tagger, but I don't think it's going to stick.
No,
I don't think Collingwood are going to be a tagging team. They might have Drew. I mean, I doubt they're going to bring in Phillips for a tag and then Hewitt and then Windhanger again. So he's going to have a couple of tough games in there if they choose to go him over Clary. But at the same time, I think from a DPP forward option, you kind of have to do it, considering that you can't really trust key forwards.
Yeah, true.
James probably can get stuffed, fielded him over Reed. Yes. The good mate of ours, JG, did the same.
Yeah, that's rough, but Pryor's not a good player anyway on the eyes. At least Reed's got the ceiling to do this now.
And Reed's got that tall intercept build,
Yep.
and we know D's just bomb it down. So it was always going to be. I thought it was quite clear that Reed was probably going to have the better game over Pryor. Yes, Pryor scored better early on, but just got to look at the matchups, look at the fixtures, and that will kind of give you a bit more of an
Well,
idea as to who should field.
we also saw Cos last week, who's about the same height as Reed, score like 100. So that kind of gave you an avenue to they're just going to bomb it to
Exactly.
the talls.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like there's going to be a few that maybe saw Trainer go back to back quicker. Obviously, they had to buy the Dons last week, whereas Trainer's in reality, he's gone back to back high scores, so he might have seemed like the likely option to do it again. Whereas coming off the bye, maybe a little bit worried, but I have a feeling some people are going to have him stuck on bench too. Even Jack, your good mate Jack, has him stuck on the bench.
Might be okay. Trainer still might pump out 78 against Freo.
For sure, and that's what I mean. Is like if Trainer gets at least a 70, you're not too far behind in reality of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's still a bit unfortunate, but it's all right. Corey Koza, 2064 with Ellie McRae might be on the lower end. Had Neil captain. Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate. Koza could be one of those weeks. I think best 22 is gonna rudely awaken some people. I think we got a little bit more comfortable with best 18 for a few rounds. How are you feeling now? Best 22, you excited, or do you
I
feel
think
like
it suits my side better. When I'm looking at all these other sides, best 22 is way better for my side. Best 18,
yeah,
people get away with this shit team. Whereas I got a decent side, and I'm like, how am I? Like my top scores, like they were all so good that on a best 22 week I'd look so good, but in best 18 I was like 1800 last week. But that's just the game. I can't complain. I knew it was always going to come. So
that's what I mean. Like you're gonna have those weeks where like you don't have any luck fall on your side, and
yeah,
that's the thing when you have like certain players that I don't know. You might like Richards, for example. Like he had a higher ownership at the start of the season than he does now. Like he's gone to full like min ownership at this point.
yep,
Like I feel like actually, I'm actually very curious. Have a look at this, just for the sake. So if we have a look at Richards,
2%.
so only 100 teams traded him out, 70 traded him in, so 1%. Let's now see the haunted man that is haunting my dreams. We had 0.9. So I dare say Hewitt probably is the better one out of those. But interestingly enough, that's kind of one of those things. You take that pod, sometimes it works in your favor. Again, like if you chose Hewitt over O'Neill, you won for that week. And I think that's the thing with the pods is you got to understand that maybe you're anti-podding a fixture, not necessarily a player as well.
Yep.
And I think that's what draw people some support players, some Freo players, because they had the soft fixture starting up. Jack, Melbourne League, so many points to defenders. Yep, 100%. It turns out Jack and Causa are playing against each other in DR's members. Tigers and Freo, ball likely in defensive 50 most of the game. And yeah, this is exactly what Brad was saying, is Trainer might actually keep up with that sort of score. Like he still might get you an 85 to 95, hopefully. So you should be pretty fine. Supercoach, should I start Josh Sin or Trainer?
Who's
What are
Sin
your
playing?
thoughts? Sin, they're playing Hawks, I think, yeah.
Probably Sin.
Let's have a look. What's he been doing? 59, 82, 80, 53. Yeah,
That's a
I
hard
think
one.
it is a hard one. I think that's kind of like a coin flip,
Yep.
honestly. Trainer's probably in good form, so I'd probably go Trainer over Sin, but you might find that Sin just comes out and does an 80 again. I've had Dale, Roberts, Dawson, Neil, and Oliver all under 100 this week. Yeah, I saw Dale score. That was not surprising, if I'm
Yeah,
being
I
honest.
know. Yeah.
I think we all kind of, the ones that kind of faded, that didn't start. I think if you started him, great starting pick, worked out very well. But if you traded into him, I don't think he's done quite well, like too well for you. I think the most he's done is a 110 at this
Do you
point.
think? Who's that Norm Smith medalist? Johannesson. Do you think he ruins Dale's scoring capability now he's back?
I have been considering what's affecting this now. And like the only real change that's happened is him coming back into the side, right? Like there's been no other real changes. Like Frazier still had the same role, didn't really change much. Like they both did their thing that they usually done, and Dale was able to go up and put out the high scores. Yeah, I mean that's I think you might be onto something with that because he is a tall like interceptor, and then booting it straight down either the corridor or the wing, and they're not really looking to do the switcheroo back behind. I think as
Mm.
much. Like I don't see Bulldogs doing that as much as other teams do. So definitely a good shout. Definitely a good shout.
Davison seems a bit dead too. Like I don't know what's going on there. I know it's a wing roll, so it's whatever.
Yeah, I think that's the annoying thing with like wing rolls, right? And I think that's why they're not usually the best super coach friendly rollers because like one week, like we saw it with Moraes. The first week or second week comes out does an 80, and then last week gives us a 45 just because it wasn't really going down his side of the ground.
Yeah.
Like it's just that inconsistency. But good call out on Davidson. I'll share this. So if you don't follow Scoobs on X, make sure you give him a follow. But Davidson's going to be priced at just under 300k with a break even of 61. So pretty much right on what his probably average score is
Oh,
going to be. So really, if you don't have any other flyers to put out, he's probably a great trade out option.
who's
If
he
you
playing?
needed. Let's have a look actually. So
Because
let me just
that
have a
that 40 something will be out of his system next week anyway. If you hold on to him for a week.
exactly. So let's have a look at this. If you really want to have a big snoop at my team, guys, to see how bad we're going, there you go. Probably ask some questions on why Henderson's on field. There's a story behind it. So we have 39, 72. That 39's gonna. Well, sorry, we got. That's already out. They'll have the 129, the 54.
Maybe it was the 54 I was thinking about.
Yeah. So 54 is still going to be in the system, which I think is the killer.
Yeah. And you got
Yeah.
St Kilda and Giants. Giants is going to be a hard one.
Yeah. So, and if because he is only averaging, if you go through all the scores, around a 73. So it's getting awfully close. You probably, if you have other fires, you find to hold him, I think.
Yep.
But if you needed the luxury of getting that cash up, so maybe you want to put it on, let's just say, I mean, Oliver's doing it just enough to not be a problem at this point, which is annoying.
I'm gonna VC him against Richmond in a couple of weeks. I'm holding on for that matchup.
And that's the thing, right? Is you just need, with this particular ginger, because I know you love your gingers, Brad. He'll have Freo, and then he'll have Richmond or West Coast. So to trade out of him before these two games, I think's probably a killer move because you're going to miss out on probably some spike scores. How are you feeling about Roberts? Because I know most people are probably looking at Roberts or Oliver as potential, like mainly Roberts, because I think we all kind of had the inkling to do it last week with the 77, and now he's come back with the 79. Do we think it's potentially time to move on, or?
I think these promos are the sort of halfway promos. You pay for what you get. I'm only concerned if you're 600k, so you pay for what you get. So I'm kind of expecting these scores. I'm probably just going to upgrade my side around these players. I'll be reactionary between like Sunday night and Wednesday, and then I'll turn logical by the time it gets to Thursday. So I'm just going to hold a Roberts pick. If you've got Roberts and biases like D5, D6, you're laughing anyway. Like, yeah, I don't know. I do think bias does affect Roberts' score going forward though,
Mm,
due to kickouts and whatnot. But you can't have Roberts, Bias, and Blakey all scoring 100 every week in that back line
mm,
along with Rampy as well. So
yeah.
yeah, it probably does get affected by bias in hindsight.
Yeah, I will say for me, for me, Roberts is definitely looking like the potential vehicle. Potentially, depending on like, I might use Davidson and maybe a Pryor to get in, maybe a Sandy Brock, and then see who's available with the leftover cash after some major price drops.
I don't
So,
like
real, huh?
I don't like Brock.
Well, it potentially it may not be that, but it might be like Gross looks really good for next
Mm.
week. Like he looks like a solid option. Probably a better than Hall, I would say, like just form wise. But it might be a Pryor and Davidson down to a Brock and Stewart. Well, Stewart's now a week late because he was sitting on the toilet just like JG was. Um, but you might be able to use those and potentially go 3 rookies down, get 2 of them down, and get 1 up to Dacos if you really want to get Dacos in, for example. Um, you have options because now the cash is getting pretty chunky on some rookies as well. We'll get back to JG. Speaking of, he's in a war at the moment. We know you are, mate. We know. I hope you're winning. I mean, we've already kind of spoken on Pryor and Reed. I mean, it's an unfortunate thing because, I think most of us probably had this. If you didn't have Pryor, you probably had Cos. It was
Mhm.
always going to be tricky having a Reed and Pryor together in the defensive rookie line because you're like, oh, one's going to be good, one's going to be bad. I mean, I think Pryor's done enough to make some decent cash. So I'm not too mad about the pick. Averaging 61. Let's have a look at a little predictor. So we got 54 this week. Ah, yes. Now my predictor does want to work. That'd be right. Who's in what defensive rookies have you got? I know you got a leak, don't you, that you're looping?
Yeah, so I got Bias, League, Pryor, and not Pryor, Reed and Trainer. So I only have to field one rookie and just loop D6 anyway because D5 is
Mm,
Primo Bias.
yeah, fair. See, now this is tricky too, right? Because now Essendon have West Coast. So maybe you hold Pryor one more week.
I would.
Yeah. So, damn, next week's trade's going to be tricky. Maybe it's just a rookie correction. Maybe it's just like a downgrade from Davidson and get rid of Campo. And maybe a Sardis. As much as Scoobs doesn't want to admit it, Don's got a decent win today. How do you think? Do you think Sardis is getting in the team?
Not after what Setterfield did against the Clary. They'd probably hold him there and make him a tagger / win the ball back as well. So I think Sardis is dead. Scoob's going to hate that take, but he's gone.
There you go. So maybe it's Davidson and Sardis, or even Davidson. But maybe it's just a dead rook correction. Yeah, maybe you move Sardis down to a Gross, and who else is there? Because I got Cleary this week. Is there any other rookies that are standing out for you for downgrade options next week?
Just Gross and Cleary, but I think you're actually better off on your side to potentially loop. You can't because you got Sardis. I was going to say I would leave one dead rookie on your midfield bench just so you can loop
Mm,
M8 if you're having like players like Hendo playing and Kako playing, etc. But you got to remember next week too we get DPP, so your forward line players will be able to play midfield, etc. So you have a lot more flexibility in your side to
very
probably
valid.
play Clearly whatever his name is Cleary into your
Yeah,
F6 and Davidson into the midfield.
that's very true. Henderson's also definitely a trade out next week.
Yep,
Just
definitely
FYI.
subbed
Probably
out.
gonna, subbed out on like 10. I think got scaled up to 13. He's got to lose cash now. So I think the projection is that he'll go down to about probably 150 based on Scoop's projection. Gotta move him out. So yeah, I think Henderson down to Gross, maybe a Sardis to potentially someone else. I went early on Cleary this week to facilitate Whitfield, and I didn't like Dudley.
Yeah,
So,
I see what you've done.
And which I didn't mind. If I knew Cleary was going to have a ripper game like he did, I would have bloody fielded him. But that's all right.
Yep.
It is what it is. Waters, Gorn, captained. Love that. A 145. Did you expect a 145 from Gorn, knowing that traditionally Essendon rucks are pretty restrictive?
Yeah, they are, but Brian went down in the first quarter or something, didn't he? So he
He
got
did.
lucky. Waters here because as JG said with Scoobs the other day, that Essendon do restrict ruckman points. So yeah, he's lucky at the Gorn pick if he had a known that statistic. But yeah, well done to him.
Yeah, I think it's very, very solid captain. Josh, it was either Trainer or Reed. Guess I went. Yeah, I think a lot of people probably just went autopilot with Trainer. Again, he hasn't played yet, so don't stress too much. Like if Trainer gets injured or whatever, then cue the little violin and a bit of a meltdown for sure. But Trainer's still probably going to play quite well, and it's not going to feel as bad if he gets 75 plus, maybe 90. Adam Bailey Dallas cornered me once again. What a spud. I mean, I think at least in the content creator space that we're really tied into, it very much was like a 50-50 sort of camp. Saw the value in grabbing a Dale, but we also had the other camps like, hey, he's done this before. His floor is quite low. Pass.
I still like him.
I still think he's a solid pick. Like he's obviously, I think this will make him start to lose some cash now. Or is his break even still relatively? Oh, there we go. So it was meant to go big, 137. So he was due to lose cash. So 137, and he ended up scoring a 68. So he's probably going to bleed a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean a lot.
Yeah,
So
but these guys you don't have to worry about leaking cash because like you're probably holding them maybe until the buyer's worst case scenario. I think.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And then
And
what he's got? He's
sorry.
not copping Windhager, is he?
Nah, you wouldn't think so.
You wouldn't think so. He's not going to cop a Bedford because they're probably going to. Bont's probably going to come back around this period as well, don't forget. So there's high targets for tags. So Dale might actually be okay. Don't stress too much. I wouldn't be trading him out or anything like that. But, I mean, really, if you want to. Go.
If Bond doesn't come back, you know they're tagging Ed Richards for you and I.
Well, see, this is the thing, right? Is Richards is still going to lose cash. Again, as Brad just said though, but like for us, this is kind of neither here nor there because he's done plenty, kind of like a Chera. They're doing amazing work for what we got them in for. We knew they probably weren't keepers, but they'd be consistent enough without Bont in the team, role or whatever it might be. Like Richards and Chera aren't exactly the same. Richards, Bont's out, Trevor's out. We kind of took a chance on that, opening up some bigger scores. And Bont coming back might actually help Richards too.
Yeah, 100%.
So there's also that benefit. Whereas Chera, we kind of saw the role, good preseason. Yeah, there was an injury cloud around him, but you can't complain about Chera. What we paid for him, he's been a prime pick.
Yeah, 100%. I never cry about a Primo that I paid $4.50 for, even if they scored an 86 like Oliver, because you paid $4.50 for a reason.
100%. So, that's what I mean. You look at like Chera, who's been really, really good consistently, versus like a Neil, for example.
Yeah.
Who's gone up and down, up and down. Like, yes, Neil gives you that 130, and maybe that week you've done well, but you've had now, 3 or 4 weeks with sub tons, even sub 90s.
The other thing you've got to look at here as well is people paid up for Brayshaw, Neil, Dacos, and we've picked Shearer, Richards, and Oliver for 150k cheaper, and they're doing maybe 5 points less, if not around the same anyway. So that's why I don't really have a care factor for that because everyone's paid up for Dacos and players with high price tags, and you've paid for an 85 guy going at 105. They've paid for a 120 guy going for 110. So we've won that battle if you look at it that way.
And that's exactly like why people take these picks. And it's probably why the mid-price of madness is what it was, is because you were hoping for that sort of end goal. And like for some, it's worked. Perry being the example. For some, it hasn't, like a Perryman.
Yeah.
And a Fraser. I mean, I'm not sure how. What did Fraser end up scoring this game? Because he looked 50. Yeah, he's still failed. What a pleb. Josh Ashcroft has been an incredible star. He has. Baby Ashcroft, I mean, look, really, he only had the one down game against Geelong. Otherwise, incredible. Absolutely incredible. Jack Cherry definitely looking like he's carrying something. So this is a really good point of conversation. Given Cherry's form, is he potentially someone? Is he in your team currently?
Nah, we're gone. We got kissed.
Yeah, we got absolutely kissed. So, assuming we have the same ruck setup with TDK and R2,
We do.
we're probably assuming Pitnet comes in next week because both Mackay is going to miss and Kemp is most likely out. We assume they're probably going to bring Pitnet in for a tool, to help swing TDK down the forward line to have some height down there with Kerno. Do we even consider Sherry at the moment?
You know what's crazy? I think we consider Kieran Briggs.
Oh no! Oh no!
He's 470, mate. He's 470.
That's true. You make the cash off the conning, move it on to someone to get up to. I mean, look, there's going to be a Dacos. There's going to be Stewart. There's going to be a few fallen primos that are going to be a nice price. Like even Zorko is going to start coming down too.
Don't remind me.
So good to keep an eye on. But I tend to agree. I'm not really looking at Sherry as an option at the moment. Like I'd feel more confident going to like a Meek if I had to trade out of TDK. Like the rucks are tricky this year.
I thought about Meek too, but I've watched him the first couple of rounds because remember I wanted to start him and he just played so poorly. Wits had a bad game today too, so the rucks are really hard to pick. I'd probably just go for value, go for Briggs, and hope I can make 100k off Briggs and use that 100k elsewhere on maybe an upgrade from Davison to somebody. I don't know yet.
What does Briggs need to score to make that viable though?
He's only, I don't know what 470k is priced at, as in for average, but I don't know. He plays Rob, then he plays English. This is after Rowan Marshall. And then he plays Brodie Grundy, Reece Stanley. So he doesn't got the worst run for a ruckman.
Yep.
And I think he can match it and, score about 105. So for 470, I'm probably going to... How much money do we make off that from deconning into Briggs? Worst case scenario.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Like maybe Briggs gets you a consistent 85 to 95 score, just gets you over the line. It's pretty
100.
consistent. You reckon he can average you a ton?
Yep.
I might have to look into Briggs. I might have to join you and Supercoach God on this Briggs journey. Max says flagged ons. Lid's not off. Put it back on. Hewitt. Oh my God, love you. 132. Yeah, look. I know Joshua is probably around here somewhere. Just saying Hewitt's name in his sleep. I'm very happy because he called this, I would dare say, 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And I don't know if this man knows something we didn't, but man, he's been right about it. DJ Gardner Holmes, how are you, mate? Welcome in. Scores shaping up okay for me. I do have Henderson on the field, but I'm going to assume my flex is going to cover that. My projected, I think it's a little overs, potentially, is 23-24 at the moment. Henderson is on the field, and you guys are probably thinking, why would you do that? You had Hall 52 on the bench. Well, here's the thing. As the Cash League, my matchup had some similar players. I needed to take a punt somewhere to try and gain some extra benefits. Now, I should have realized that he had Sherry because Vaughan has made that difference. So I could have been safe in going Hall, but I was happy taking the punt because I had flex. So flex can give you those sort of options if you're playing like cash leagues or head-to-heads. I'm not necessarily doing it, but I thought I'd try it for this week just because overall I'm pretty happy with the other teams performing. But it's one of those fun lessons you learn. How are you traveling up there, Brad, with your team?
I'm confused because mine says 2260, but if I put captain as weak, it goes down to 2150. I don't know how, because that's sweeping DeConning's 118. Does it think I'm playing weak and making him captain?
It does. So until the rounds finish and it's registered, so League hasn't played yet. So so their time hasn't played yet. So it's assuming that they're going to play, and it's showing they're projected if they were to play. So it's captaining that score. When it registers in the system that they have that it was a do not play, then it should update the projection to the TDK VC.
So it's about 2-2 500. Sorry, it's about 2-2 something.
Yeah. So I think if you're sitting like, I mean, again, we both don't read into this. Projections are always trash. They're always off. Until like at least the last game of the round, then you might be able to get a close idea as to where you're sitting. But that's how we're traveling, DJ Gardner Holmes. How are you going this week so far? Hopefully you've had all the right rooks on field. Hopefully things are going well. Brad, this one's yours, mate.
Yeah, I've got a huge HSP box on Snapchat and made up a story. So it cost me $50. I can show you it if you want, but it is huge. I've only got through half of it. Like on BRB, like read out the next comment. I'll show you how big this pizza box is of HSP. Give me 2 seconds.
All right. Real important things here, guys. Before we move on as well, if you're in here, make sure you give the stream a like. Make sure you subscribe to myself and give Brad at Supercoach Pro 91 subscribe as well. And if you did want to support the channel anyway, you do have memberships and super chats and all that sort of stuff as well. That goes a long way just to help all the fun content come your way. Matthew, thoughts on Dacos trade-in with the price rise now? I mean, is he going up that much?
So
is it 580? Oh my goodness, that's massive.
That's what she said.
It is after hours. Let's just keep that in mind, guys. So things are going to get worse as the night progresses, especially if we have people in one of our group chats that join. Let's just say they're on the same level as us, and if they end up getting around to it, it'll be a fun thing. So Dacos ended up scoring a 134, which really, I mean, there's no real price rise, is there? Like he probably just sits at the same price at 582. Would you still get Dacos in at a 585 price tag?
I'm not even looking at him because of his plantar fascia or whatever. So I'm just going to pass for now and hope he ends up shitting the bed for owners because you're not bringing in a player that's got a plantar, are you? Unless he's, I don't know. I'll try to work around it. And if he comes to like a price where you just got to jump on because his break even 70, then sure I'll do it. But at 585 for a guy that's dealing with something like that, before this week he looked a little bit mediocre, to be honest. What's his scoring been like?
Well, that's the thing, right? It's been a 66, a 98, a 125, then a 94. So he's only turned up once, and that was against Bulldogs.
Yeah.
He's now gone a 130. What was it, 134?
Yeah.
Which still puts him at a high-ish break even, a 120. Like there's and look, mind you, they have been like hard games by, they're not easy games by any stretch. I mean, Carlton, copped some attention there, but I don't know. I think it's quite promising seeing that he had probably the hardest tagger and was able to go at 134. So obviously, the Pies are looking to do blocks and everything to free him up a little bit.
Yep.
I still don't mind the trade in. I definitely am erring on the side of caution, as Brad mentioned, with the plantar stuff, because it might be fine now, but it really can flare up at any given time. Maybe he lands wrong, rotates the heel wrong. There's so many things that can trigger it to flare up, and then maybe he misses a week, and then you got to field a rookie to cover, and that's kind of part of the luck.
DR's in the same boat as me for this as well. You've had one, haven't you? And it flared up just randomly. Or something you're saying about?
Yeah. So I've got subtle plantar fasciitis. So when I'm not running and doing like really intense stuff, not noticeable. But when I do really intensive stuff like running, sprints, all that sort of stuff, horrid. Absolutely horrid. Jaggy, am I crazy for trading in Lockie Ash for sure? Can't afford Whitfield and allows me to get Dacos next week.
I like Ash as a pick, actually, to be honest. Look at his scores.
And this is the thing, right, is you're kind of skeptical at the start. It's like, maybe, Whitfield's going to start taking sharing the same pie. Doesn't seem to be the case. Like, what's he priced at? Under 500K. I mean, it's one of those, again, that mid-pricer, if you haven't really taken risk before, and maybe this is your risk pick for a mid-pricer, I'd say you've got no better option than Nash. I think he's been he's been really good. Yeah, floor of
We
80 so far.
You got to remember too, they used to have Cumming back there and all those sort of players as well. So he's taking kickouts with Whitfield. So Ash has always been the second kickout taker as opposed to Whitfield, and then obviously Himmelberg back there as well, point share. So between the three of them, there's still plenty of points to go around. I think sometimes the GWS defenders get more points than the midfielders. It feels like some weeks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's getting some kick-ins as well, so he's getting some share of kick-ins. Maybe sometimes not a lot. Consistently decent DE as well. We're sitting probably on an average of 88-ish, maybe 87. I mean, his heat maps generally, if we look at the most recent game in round 4, like he seems to be very much in the mix. Again, we're talking like receiver from kick-ins or doing the kick-in, going through the corridor. It's a solid role by all means, and I think the previous scores just kind of prove that as well. So I'm definitely for the Lockie Ash pick.
Yeah. So
For sure. We've got Josh Ashcrofts and Holmes, my only positives. Sherry is so annoying. Yeah, look, if you maintained your hold on Will Ashcroft, that's worked out quite well for you. I think most would have, within the first round or two, got in Levi as a no-brainer and just a rookie correction. Holmes actually, do we feel like Holmes just took benefit of Stewart being out? Because he got kick-ins, he got CBAs, like he was everywhere.
I would a bit, but I think Holmes is more a tag threat. So he's going to drop a 130 and he's going to go 70. He's going to average 100 for the year, but he's that roller coaster pick that you're going to expect a tag, but then you also get the high ceiling to balance out those shit games.
Yeah, and that's exactly it, right? I think that's very much the theme that we're seeing. We have, like his tag scores aren't horrible either.
Yeah.
I mean, if he copped Windhager and still got a 91 through a tag, you absolutely take that. A 72 with a Sparrow. It's probably, that was the first game we saw Sparrow introduced as a tagger, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And he didn't do anything. Was Sparrow on merit the whole game?
I can't remember who Sparrow went to tonight.
I think there was, attention, because I know Setterfield put some attention into Oliver as well.
Oliver gets also tag and he shits the bed.
Yeah, look, we were hoping we saw prime Oliver, but I think we've just seen a slightly more improved Oliver than last season.
Do you know what's funny? You know what's funny too? All preseason I got so much shit saying, "Oh my god, you're not jumping on Oliver, you must be crazy." And I'm like, nah, he's not going to come back to his very best. Like, but he's 450, so I kind of jumped on just because of the price. But even all preseason, I said after what he went through and all the off-field stuff, I'm like, there's no way we're going to prime Clary. Everyone's like, you're an idiot, basically. So I'm like, I'll just start him because he's highly owned, not worth anti-potting a guy that has the scores on the board, comes out and just averages kind of what I thought he averaged. So it was kind of a win if you didn't start him, but it wasn't a loss if you started him either. It's sort of like a middle of nowhere pick. It's like I'm eyeing off these fallen primos. I'm hoping, I know it sounds really stupid, I'm going to get a lot of slack in the comments. I'm hoping those like primos like Track and Cripps turn it around and you can pick them up for like 460. I know Cripps played a lot forward, but maybe it's a bounce back game for him and you get some momentum, and so did Carlton. So I'm looking at players like that instead of paying $5.85 for a day, because if I can upgrade my side faster and hope to just whatever is out there that these players can turn around, and you picked up Cripps for 450, couldn't be the worst, MA. I know it sounds crazy, but I don't know.
No, I tend to agree with you though. Like, and I can't remember who I spoke to. That Cripper might be like a downgrade option. And a lot of people are like, no. I'm like, well, it's Cripper for one. Like, he's done it before. Whereas like some of these other mid prices, we're expecting something we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
And I know we just pretty much touched on Clary. I don't think he's a trade, short story wise. I think he's still holding because he's got good games coming up. But in instances like a Soligo, for example, yes, he's had a ripper start, but again, we're seeing something that he hasn't really done before in the sense of he's had previously he wasn't getting the CBAs that he had been getting, and then this game it kind of regressed again. I'm fairly sure CBA wise,
Is it because of Crouch?
potentially.
Because
So let's
I
have a
like
look.
Sligo as a pick, but I didn't. I realised after the game he scored a 60, but I thought he played a good half, and then yeah, it did drop off. Wow.
Yeah, so he went. So
Mm, it's 'cause
his first few games were pretty good, but they were against, I dare say, some easier teams, right? So that probably equated to a higher score.
yeah,
Whereas this game against Suns ultimately hard if it had more opportunity, and then he comes up against the Cats, who let's just say are a strong team,
yeah,
the Cats, and then got his CBAs regressed because Crouch came back in. Like it didn't look that great. And then if we also look at, I don't think his DE was great either.
Dawson's so bad this game too. He was.
Yeah,
He needs to go back
yeah.
half.
So a 67% DE as well. Um, Gave away some free kicks, only 2 tackles. Didn't have too many disposals, only 15. Like he was like ultimately pretty quiet this game. Like, and I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, I'm going to bring in Saligo over Dawson." You didn't win either way if you got Dawson or Saligo this week, which sucks because I was talking to a couple people and like, "Oh yeah, Dawson's probably going to be a decent pick." I still think he is going to be a great pick. I still think there's value there to be had with Dawson. The issue is Adelaide just don't really like. He's a Mister Fix It, which means they'll go where like he'll pretty much go where he's needed at
Yep.
any given time. That might be off the halfback flank. That might be further like a high forward. Might be in the middle. Like he even did some tag work on Rao when he came off against the Suns.
Yeah, this is
Like
like Liam Baker did that for Richmond. Wherever there was a hole to fill that game, he'd fill it.
100%. We are going to try to quickly fly through some questions, guys, because I know we're about 30 minutes behind. So let me just quickly get up this just so we have something pretty that's dark themed in the background. Jack, should I captain Brayshaw or go big with Whitfield C? Also said see you later to Rosie this week and said hello Sarong. Ooh, I
Brayshaw.
reckon, I reckon Brayshaw is probably the best bet because there's no tag threat, whereas there is potential opportunity for Whitfield to cop a tag, potentially.
Ross
But
Wine said they're going to put work into Whitfield.
don't say that. They also because this is the annoying part now, right? Because you've had Lions saying that they're going to put attention into Whitfield, and then you've had what's his face from Giants say they're going to put work into Sinclair.
I've got
No,
nothing either.
no, don't do that. I mean,
Do
look,
it.
I could technically still back out of this and get into Clark instead of Whitfield.
I'd go Whitfield still. I'm a
Yeah,
Clark owner. You won't be burnt by Clark if you don't own him. But this game you might because he's going to probably go 140 against Tigers.
yeah, and that's the thing, right? I didn't bring in Whitfield for 1 week to move him on in a couple of weeks or anything. Like he's here to stay, and that's pretty much what I'm doing. Is I personally am probably targeting more defenders than midfielders at the moment, and with some DPP, I can make that work, and especially using the flex position because I feel like they're more consistent lately than your midfielders. So that's probably my plan. But yeah, Captain Brayshaw, I think that's definitely a good plan. Never put. Oh, Max avoided Clary.
Nice.
Very good. Mick, what's a good score? I'm on 14-14. Got Captain Brayshaw, Whitfield, Sinclair, McRae to go. My
Mm,
current score is 16-68. I mean, I'd probably say you're on track because you've got Brayshaw still to play. You've got Whitfield and your Sinclair and McRae. So, I mean, look, you're probably looking at the 2200s, maybe 22 and a half, maybe even 23, early 23s. I'd say you're tracking well, Mick. Josh, take TDK 118 or Captain Sarong. What do you reckon, Brad? What have you done with your captaincies this week?
I've had to pick TDK's pick because Reed was on my bench and I had to take the 104. So I look at it as a combination. But
Yep.
I don't know. After get burnt last week about not taking some captain scores, that people are probably going to take the 118. But Sarong against Richmond will be fine. Like it's Tigers, and I'm a Tigers man. He's going 140 probably against us. So
Yep.
unless he gets injured, you're stuffed. But I'd probably send it for Sarong against Tigers or Brayshaw if I had either or.
Yeah, I reckon a Sarong captain's definitely probably just as safe as a Brayshaw.
Who would you
Def-
pick out of Sarong or Brayshaw? I didn't realise that Sarong's 5k cheaper.
So this was my again. This is potentially something I can still do. Is I can still
Um,
potentially throw, Sinclair into the back and bring in a Brayshaw this week if there's a hint of Whitfield getting major attention. I can still get Brayshaw in because I can just flick Sinclair back.
who would you pick out of Brayshaw and Sarong though?
Well, I'm gonna go on my original theory at the start of the season, which is the second banana theory. So I'd always go Brayshaw because it seems like I mean, I say that Brayshaw does get some attention still, depending on the team. Like if Sydney, for example, they've got Rowbottom and Jordan that can throw attention at people. So unique situations with that, but Brayshaw seems to fit that theory perfectly. So I would still bring in Brayshaw, even though he's 5k dearer than Sarong. I still don't think any are bad options. So, what about you? Do you favour Brayshaw or do you favour Sarong?
Well, sort like 51 Brayshaw, 49 Sarong. Like Sarong probably gets more tagged than Brayshaw potentially. You'd think.
You'd imagine.
So yeah, I'm just keeping Brayshaw at the moment because I've just done one up, one down this week and haven't boosted for once.
Yeah. Yeah, I boosted. I burnt my third boost. I'm actually considering just burning through them all and just seeing.
Yeah, I think it's not the worst idea because like you're trying to fix your team, you're trying to upgrade fast. You get a third trade in around 12 onwards anyway, so I don't think it matters. Like I'm going to use my fourth boost next week on Cleary and Gross,
Yeah.
and then I'll have one more for an upgrade as well. So I'm just trying to. I don't really care. We never had boost 2 years ago, and I ranked well then, so it shouldn't matter for me.
Yeah, and that's it, right? It's like everyone uses boost differently. Some people want to hold on to at least one past the mid-round buys just for like safety. But there's all logical reason to use them for the first however many rounds just to keep the upgrade cadence and potentially get ahead of teams on that to capitalize on some rankings and all that sort of stuff. I usually do it week by week. Like I never lock in using a boost. It
Yep.
just depends on what's available. Like at the moment, really the only downgrade I might see as a viable option is Gross. So maybe
Yep.
I only use one trade. Maybe I'll hold off. Maybe I'm not sold on Dacos. Maybe the DPP's too valuable to ignore, and maybe I can grab a track and throw him in where Davidson is in, and get another rookie off field. There's that sort of stuff that I will take into consideration as well. So
I'm just gonna grab a drink.
yeah, all good. JCR, does Roberts get one more week or does he go in the bin? This is a great question. I feel like a lot of people are going to be asking the same question to themselves. He does have Port, Suns, and then Giants coming up. So not the easiest fixture. There's logical reason to do both. If you have bigger fires to put out, I think it's fine to leave Roberts. But if you've got no other fires to put out, I think Roberts, if it's your vehicle to Dacos, sure. If it's your vehicle to whoever you need to get to, say for next week that you desperately want to get in, maybe you want to flip him to crack through the flex position and move some cash around. Sure, I think there's viable reasons to move on Roberts next week, despite others maybe saying that he's fine. Could be a Sheasel situation. Like Sheasel looked like a trade out the first couple of rounds, and now he's turned it around. Roberts did well at the start. He's had 2 sub 80 games. Could he potentially turn it around? Is there some, again, we kind of touched on it earlier, that maybe are there too many people trying to eat the pie? Vice is now in the mix. You got Rampy as well. Yeah. I think there's a camp for both options, really.
You wait for Stewart in 2 weeks, so you let him play this week, as in next weekend, and the weekend after, and
Yep.
then you straight swap him for the same price. That's what you do if it happens.
But in saying that as well, if you moved on Roberts this weekend, so let's just say they move Roberts into a Dacos. Maybe they do some DPP swings with some rookies or whatever it might be, and they're able to go Roberts to Dacos. Come the time that Stewart's bottomed out. Oh, am I here? You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so I might have moved away from the mic, so it's very directional. Professional microphone. No, so timeline-wise, Essendon have a good game next week. You could potentially move a Pryor and maybe hold a Davidson and go one up, one down with their cash gen, because there's probably going to be enough cash on both their heads to do that.
Yeah,
If you wait.
I don't know if there's merit in getting rid of Roberts. The only way you're getting rid of Roberts is if you bring in Travalia this week and then swing Travalia down back.
Yeah,
Because
it really depends on the rest of your team. Like,
yeah,
I could get rid of Roberts, for example, and easily swing Sinclair in. So I'm not
yes,
losing.
yep,
You know, I'm not having to put an extra rookie on field to make it happen. I'm just using DPP to move a primo to another line to bring in a primo at a different line.
yep.
If you can do that, by all means. If you have to field and change some structure, don't do it. Just wait. 100%. Josh didn't watch the game. Al Halbi, how did he look? I mean, looked all right.
Look quick. Decision making was a bit poor, but Essendon in
Definitely
general.
quick. Definitely got some speed on him. Are we concerned that he only had game time because Brian went down?
Yeah, like he's probably going to be sub in and out of the side all year, sort of like Sardis. I don't know if I'm confident in the pick.
I think SARS is behind him now.
Probably Sardis is a shit pick. I'm only trying to set up JG and Scoops, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. It's you'd have to be an Essendon fan to know really this kind of stuff. He looked okay, but yeah, I'm not sold.
Yeah, I'm not particularly sold either, unfortunately. However, Nightfall is Caden Cleary a must-have downgrade next week. I believe so.
Yeah, because the Papley's out as well, and Sydney kept getting injuries. So if it wasn't for his illicit use last year, he'd probably be playing maybe earlier. So like these players getting heat, but he had a good preseason. Apparently, he would have been picked round one. I reckon if it wasn't for all that drama. So
For sure, and yeah, that's like the thing is like he would have started if it wasn't for his shenanigans. Yes, they do have some ins to come back, but they're relatively more defenders than anything else. But there's no direct inline replacement coming in for Cleary's spot. Put it that way for Sydney's ins that are coming in. So he might be safe. He's done enough, I think, to facilitate that role until at least Paffley is back in the conversation. We've got Jinxie. Kitty K is a lifesaver. Yes, he is. I talked to this lovely supporter of the channel on X quite frequently, and boy was he stressing because I'm fairly sure he had to straight captain TDK.
Yeah, a lot of people did because they were scared about Boyd. Boyd won't body play. If you're scared about the emergencies, you're sleeping with the lights on every night of the day. Every night of the day.
Yeah, exactly that. Don't reverse it. See,
like
exactly that.
If I stressed about every loophole, like I'd be stressing about leak right now. Like I couldn't care less. What happens. If I got a straight C Rose E Sunday, I will. Like it's just a game.
And that's the thing, right? At the end of the day, like I think it only really matters if you're doing leagues and you're only focusing on head-to-heads and you're trying to like maneuver your matchup. Sure, maybe it's a little bit more influential, but for like overall ranking, if you're forced to captain like a Sarong or a Brayshaw, and like they're gonna get around the mark of your VC most likely, unless your VC is like a Gorn for a 145, then yeah, maybe you try to figure out a way to take it, by any means. But like I could have figured out a way to get Cleary on field. I would have had to trade in a dud and Miss Hall, and could have taken Coding's VC. Like there could have been so many things I could have done, but it's not really worth it. Like don't end your season to try and get one big score, essentially. Jack saw Bramble taking kick-ins as well as lob. Interesting.
He always does. If you'll get DFS, Bramble
yeah, let me get that up. Let me have a look. Kick-ins. Where are we? Yep. Okay. So it was 50-50 split. That explains it.
I got to let the dog out. She's bloody crying.
Go.
BRB.
Zero, what seems like a decent projector at the moment. I mean, look, again, me and Brad are very much on the consensus that projections don't mean anything. until you really get to like the second last game, maybe last game. I say anything of the 2300s, you're probably set. Yeah. JM reckons around 2250 plus. I definitely think that's probably maybe par. I think anywhere around 2200 is probably par. So anything around that. But again, don't stress too much about your projection just yet. Does like Ashrush go and get forward DPP? He sure is. He is a locked in to get forward DPP. So let's just say Davidson's not doing the job. Trade him out, swing Ashcroft forward, make some moves. That's probably like the perfect scenario that I'm going to see or try to facilitate is moving. Is that a Borderlands mark?
Yeah, man. Sure is.
You never know what you're going to get when you have Brad on stream. It's either cracking eggs on his head or it's a Borderlands mask. Or it's him naked. You never know.
Well, do you know what's really random is like I was wondering why I got so much energy. Have you had these before?
Is that the Mishashi or whatever it is?
Yeah, it's pre-workout. I didn't realize I've just been drinking pre-workout on the stream, so now I just want to like go for
What
a
did you
run.
think it was? Like a amino acid electrolyte drink?
I don't know. I just grabbed whatever was in the fridge. I thought it was an alcoholic beverage potentially, but next minute, whew.
I mean, look, we are talking about you here. It's not at all surprising. You would 100. I mean, look, to be fair, I just finished drinking an iced coffee, but that was by choice. I knew what I was drinking when I picked it up. Jack, G's getting a lot of screen time. Surely a cut of the profits. Who's getting a lot of screen time?
Me.
Yeah, of course he is. He gets a cut of the profits. You just don't know what they are. They're behind closed doors.
I was going to say, I still can't work out how to do the settings. You need to show me a video tutorial.
Yeah, so Jack, here's the thing, right? There's no cut of the profits because I'm having to do shit in the background for him on his channel. So he's getting free technical support. That's what he's getting. That's his
literally my IT help.
Blue Pass. So sick of fading George Hewitt. I believe in the top 8 mid-dream now. I'll bring him in next week.
Do it. He's a good pick.
There you go. Josh decided to opt against Short to Witt because of Witt's fixture and playing at small venues, hoping it doesn't bite him in the ass.
Have you noticed that with the defenders this week in Adelaide, they haven't been scoring well cause that are short grounds? So that's why I'm not keen on Witt.
Oh, dude, are you about to make me go get Brayshaw instead of Witt this week? Because I hear so much just pushing me into Brayshaw. Damn it. I'm going to have to sleep on this. This is ridiculous. God damn it. CH, Dale, and Roberts really screwed me this week. I'll hold Dale and watch, but Roberts is gone. Yeah, that's fair. I say that's fair. JG. Let's hope by now. We're getting close to catching up with the comments, guys, so I appreciate your patience. Not worried about the prior pick, just annoyed. Yeah, and that's the thing, right, is you're not worried about prior as a pick. Like a 54, it's okay. It's not the worst case. It's not like a 13 from a particular hendo. And he's still making cash. Like he's still doing his job as a rookie.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, JJ, I did see you do a preview of your matchup earlier in the week, and I did see you have prior on field, and I was going to ask you about it, but I decided not to leave it alone. I'm sorry. I should have done a welfare check on you and asked why you did that. We got hold or trade Neil, Oliver, and Roberts. Still have Leak, Stone, Sardis, Hewitt, Lindsay, Nevitt, Kako, and Davidson. I mean, you could probably hold all three really and just do rookie corrections.
Yeah, I wouldn't be trading Neil, Oliver, or Roberts. I'd be doing maybe rookie corrections or just going one up, one down where you could.
Yeah.
Who's like enough cash out of those players? None of them really. Nevitt.
I mean, like Nevitt stalled his cash gen, so you'd probably maybe if Sardis isn't named at all next week, I reckon his prime trade out material.
Davison, Kako, you can probably look at because Kako scored like a 37 tonight, I think. So maybe you go
really?
Davison, Kako, and someone else into Cleary,
38,
Cross, and somebody else.
Yeah, that hurts. Yeah, I think Kako is definitely one you can trade out for sure.
I feel bad because people ask me rookie corrections, rookie head to heads sometimes on chat and Twitter, and I'm just going off gut feel.
Wow.
And like 50% of the time, you put a call out, and I said with this one guy, go Kako, mate, and then all of a sudden he pulls out that score, and I'm like, oh, please don't DM me tonight.
But I feel like that to a few people I told, like, they'll try and look for value. I'm like, Dawson's still value.
Yeah,
And then they were like, I bring in Dawson. And they literally messaged me after the game. I'm like, I'm so sorry.
I had the same question. Someone was like, if you had 565, what would you do? And I was like, Sligo, Hewitt, or Dawson. Take your pick. And he's like, Dawson. I'm like, okay, all right. I would pick maybe Sligo and Hewitt. I didn't even think of Dawson because I know he burnt everyone last year. So
Yeah.
glad he didn't go Sligo though. He scored a 60 as well as Dawson.
Yeah. The one thing I will try to do, I've explained this before, but I'll quickly go through it again. If you ever message me on X or whatever and ask me for trade advice, I'm going to give you the pros and cons for both options that you bring to me, because ultimately I shouldn't be making the decisions for your team. No content creator or expert, they can give you advice and pros and cons, but ultimately this is your team. Like, take some responsibility.
And when I
Trust your
mean
gut.
Mick at the bottom says gut feel doesn't work in Supercoach. I mean gut feel in terms of Supercoach statistics, what they've scored in the past. I'm not saying this is what my stomach's literally telling me. It's
Yeah.
my gut feel is still on the statistic that they put out before. Just to clarify, I'm not just taking a punt going, oh, I can better as a player. I'm looking at Supercoach scores going, all right, he's averaging 60, the other guy's averaging 40. He's playing at home,
Sure.
he plays better at home. Like I'm analysing properly, but that's what I mean by gut feel.
Yeah, and look, if you're just a casual player, a super coach or whatever, and you just want to get in your favorite players and just watch them play, go do that. Like, don't stress about scoring the most or whatever. Like, you just want to have fun with, especially if it's your first year. Just have fun with it. Bring in whoever you want. Go nuts. If you want to get, I wouldn't say get good, but if you want to be more competitive and actually like treat it as it's intended to be competitive in a sense, you need to do some sort of analysis. Like, when we say gut feel, as Brad just touched on, we're talking about what's their form look like in regards to Supercoach scoring. Is there been a
Yeah,
role change? What's their upcoming fixture? That will give you an inclination on your gut feeling, because you might go, oh, Whitfield versus Sinclair. Oh, Sinclair's got 3 hard matchups coming up when Whitfield has an easier run for the next 3. Your gut
yeah,
feel is probably going to lean towards Whitfield. That's when we say follow the gut feeling, not
yeah,
necessarily I'm just looking at a list of players. My gut feeling is, oh, that one. Not
yeah,
necessarily that.
yeah. I'd never do that to anybody.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I said is, if you come to a trade advice, I'm going to give you pros and cons for both.
Yeah,
Because like, mine might be like an absolute lock-in pick when you're paying at price for a player, like a Brayshaw. Some might be a little bit of value, like a Dawson at 550, who's now going to be cheaper, by the way. So he's going to provide even more value, and I will stick by that pick forever. Don't come at me. Rolo, how you going, mate? Thanks for jumping in to the stream. I did not get a look at dunks, unfortunately. I think I watched the first quarter. I checked the Supercoach scores around halftime and third quarter time, but I didn't actually get the opportunity to watch it. So I might have to watch that one back to get an idea. Did you watch any of this game, Brad? Can you provide any
yeah.
context on this?
I watched most of it. It's a hard one because the ground was so small. Like, just all the midfielders were so congested, so they didn't have the time and
Yeah.
space they normally would as well. So
Yeah.
Zorko stunk it up. Neil stunk it up. All the midfielders did. The only player that actually played well in that game was Richards, because he got a lot of centre clearances. So I think the ground just seemed to be hard to score on in terms of midfielders as well. And then you had, Kennedy was lining up on Neil on stoppages as well. So
Yeah.
it wasn't a tag, but they were definitely being checked, but not tagged.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Newcomb about to have a 140 plus, potentially.
Never
He's a bit
know.
of he's a bit of a smoky, in my opinion. Mick says, why can't the taggers tag themselves? That would make Supercoach so much easier. I think Chera is definitely helping, carrying some midfields at the moment with those
Yep.
consistent scores. And same for Washcroft as well.
I
I
like
think
his logo.
his logo is sick.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Very nice. Kozar, TDK could still smash North at this rate, being a forward/second ruck. Potentially. I don't think, if Petnet's named, I don't think you trade out that week that
Yeah.
he's named. I still think you give it 1 week to see what it looks like, because Voss, you don't know what Voss is going to do. Yeah, they reckon they're still going to turn up by kicking a couple of goals. Yeah, Max wanted Hewitt, McCluggage, but kept Roberts. Got to have 130. Yeah, I mean, they're both potty picks. I wouldn't ever probably bring 2 pod picks in the same week. So I think you did the smart thing there, Max. Lobsters, Brayshaw or Wick captain, defenders at Norwood scored poorly today. Yeah, we kind of touched on this. Both me and Brad vouch for the Brayshaw pick. JG says that the planter for Dacos is fine. Just pushed one of the hardest taggers through for a 134.
Yeah, but this is the thing. The bloody the flare up. It's not that it's cool. He did well against the tag. That's amazing. Good for him. But it's not. That's not what I'm even getting the point to. It's like at any point of any game, he could be subbed out because it's flared up mid game. That's the issue for me. I don't want to go there for that reason.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I'm undecided still. Undecided. I think someone asked this. Yep. The same. Jack. Go Brayshaw. You need to understand Dacos' score now because Long is his enforcer. Yeah, I mean, according to the Scope's projection, I can afford Henderson, Kako, and Davidson to Gross, Cleary, and Dacos. His fixture is friendly coming up. So that's solid trades.
Yep.
Absolutely solid trades.
What do?
Marshall, what should I do with Romo?
Hold him.
I think you have to hold. Like, unless you started him and it's a correction, maybe.
I'd keep him.
Yeah. He'll come good. It'll be fine. What do you think Whitfield goes? And what do you think Brayshaw goes? Oh my goodness. Well, any more questions about this bloody conversation of captains for Brayshaw and Whitfield? This will be the last one.
100, and I reckon Brayshaw goes 130.
I reckon Whitfield goes a 118, and I reckon Brayshaw goes a 127.
Well,
so somewhere in the mix. Jonas, what's up, mate? Welcome in. Jonas, speaking of, you better be happy with the live streams that are coming out pretty consistently. And I would have been here last week too if it wasn't for a personal sitch. So, but yeah, Sanderson, rip in peace. He's gone. Valera had a great game from Adelaide, didn't he? Absolutely provided some good scores for some differential points.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. I don't know if you've seen these comments, but Cheese is loose.
Cheese sent me a voice note a couple of weeks ago. It's the first time I've heard some of the people we talk to, and you're like, holy shit, it's old, mate. Like, it's so good.
Yeah. Well, Cheese, if you're still conscious and listening, I hope you've got a change of clothes ready for you because I doubt they're clean.
And a hot shower.
I'm going to get rid of Roberts next round for Whitfield. I mean, I don't mind it. I mean, yeah. I think Brad's pretty set on the hold for Roberts. I don't mind either. Just see what you have to do. DPP will probably answer that question for you. Can you translate?
McCluggage or Bonds for M2.
He speaks your language. I love that.
That's bad for him. That's bad for him.
Jesus. Yeah, you guys are best buds now. Bond for sure. McCluggage is probably going to regress at some point. Like, it's not. I don't think it's going to be maintainable. Like, he's having a good run, but I don't know.
I'm having a Jack Higgins moment. My heart rate is like 1,000 minutes per beat, or whatever he said that time. Remember?
Oh yeah, fucking hell. Yeah. Jesus. And he's still drinking it too. He's called out that he's like shouldn't be drinking it, but he still proceeds to finish the can.
Oh, so thirsty.
Yeah. So yeah, Dio already answered that for you. Cripps has to play forward then, no BK and Kemp today as well as next tours. I mean, there is a world that Cripps plays forward. Maybe Pinnet doesn't come back in. Maybe he goes to VFL. Guess we'll have to wait for team sheets. Who matches up better against Tigers, Brayshaw or Sarong? I think we're both vouching for Brayshaw in this one. I think they're both going to do well, but I think Brayshaw might just have the...
Do you know what? I think Sarong plays a better game against Richmond, but I think long-term Brayshaw plays a better season.
Yep. Couldn't agree anymore. This is yours, mate.
Uh, what's he talking about? Can you read that for me? I'm dyslexic.
Hey, Brad, next time you're on with the Sardis fanboy, tell him set of nuts, 10 tackles in one game. Sardis 8 tackles in his last 9 games. That's why he didn't get a game. Jonas, you
Yes,
need to go find Scobes when he's doing a stream on Swordplay and go tell him that yourself because he'll love it.
that's a good
He'll
point.
absolutely love it.
I picked Citizen Draft this week off the waiver wire.
Oof. Very good. Is Sinclair getting attention tomorrow? I believe so. He
Yep.
might get some attention. It depends. If McRae goes off chain, they will 100% switch. But there is a world where Sinclair just reverts more to that halfback role, and they're probably not going to force Windhager to pretty much play out of the game. Essentially, they're probably going to want him to get him into McRae a little bit. It might jump. It'll probably jump depending on who's hot. Who do we reckon McGuinness goes to tomorrow?
I honestly don't know. It's either Rosé or Butters. No idea.
Yeah, it's probably one of those two. I don't really see him going to the horny man because he'll probably sit down forward. Yep, not answering that question. Already answered. Gross and Cleary are way better picks, I reckon.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. 100% agree. Sarong, Clark, Sinclair, or McRae as captain. I'd probably go Sarong out of those.
Sarong by a length of Flemington.
Yep. Easy. Jonas Brad has his bedroom mask on.
Yeah, 100%. I've got a few.
It depends what time you go into the bedroom. That's what the key part is.
There's too many.
Rolo says you are looser than a wizard's sleeve. Smashing the Musashis.
I could do push-ups right now, but I'd also fart at the same time. Rolo.
Yeah. CWT, welcome in, mate. Thank you for joining us. Tom Stewart's technical support. Oh yeah, mate. There's going to be a full phone line, right? Someone's going to call up and it's going to be like, Tom Stewart's technical support line. How can I help? Have you tried shitting yourself lately?
Literally, when you sent me that voice note, I still couldn't even open the studio. I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I need a video support.
Yeah. So the background is I'm just helping Brad with some graphics on his site just to make it a little bit prettier. And we all kind of know that Brad is very much like Shorty and technology is not their friend.
Yeah.
So using my career set of skills, I'm going to help him out. So again, that's why he doesn't get a cut of anything. Not my $1.39. All right. Again, before we keep going, we are trying to catch up on questions. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with both myself and Brad. Make sure to give the stream a like, chuck a subscribe to myself and Brad, just to stay up to date with all the streams that we put out, either during the week or the consistent, as you'll see here, the Supercoach After Dark on Saturday nights, just to get your fix for rants and hot takes and shit stirring, basically. Matthew, have 300k in the bank, but contemplating whether to boost Callahan to Sarong and keeping the 150k for next week or keeping the 150k for next week, as not sure if Sarong will be top 8. I think Sarong's 100% top 8, and if you're going to get him in at any week, you get him in this week, surely.
I agree. I think Sarong's top 8 as well. I'd do it for Callahan. I'm only sitting on Callahan this week because I can't afford to go to track, so I'd do it.
Yeah. This is about the comment you were talking about before. We are catching up. We are getting there. Lachlan traded Nod, Rosie, Callahan for Hall, Track, and Whitfield. Next week, he's going to go for Roberts and a rookie for Dacos and Cleary. I think that's absolutely solid. I don't see really any issues with that. If Roberts is your only vehicle to get to Dacos, I don't mind it.
Yep.
Koza, suspected ACL injury for Brian. So, with that in mind, let's have a look here. I just screwed up that. There we go. Let's have a look. Now, I'm just going to get up Draper's profile because if that is the case, do we think now Essendon become a leakage to Rucks?
Easily. We saw what Gawn did.
Yeah. So he's going to have, West Coast. If this would be perfect because if God held Flynn and then now Essendon leak points to Rucks and Flynn gets named against Essendon, we're going to have a meltdown on our hands, ladies and gentlemen. Darcy Cameron, probably going to have a good game. You got Sherry, you got Grundy, you got English, you got Nank. Nothing really relevant ruck-wise unless you've got a Nank or English. I doubt anyone So really, it's round 8 that's probably going to benefit most people.
Does Gorn play him again?
He does not.
Damn it.
Yeah, unfortunate. But TDK comes up. Well, if it's TDK only, they'll come up in round 13. But that's being pretty optimistic. Matt, will Jack Steele get tagged tomorrow? Please help. Does Steele even get up play?
Yeah, I was going
Or
to
is he
say.
another laid out?
Probably no one old, mate.
Yeah, I don't think Jack Steele's like I think Steele is really the second banana now. Let's be honest.
Yeah, behind McRae.
He's not really a threat, so I don't think teams are going to look to tag him. Will Ashcroft last squad was massive. Sure was. It's Kaz. Here you go, mate. Thanks for joining. Dale, such a bus pick. Can't say I wasn't warned. I think he's fine. He'll come around. It's again, he kind of had to know coming into it that he will have his he has a pretty low floor from a primo perspective.
Yep.
So just is what it is. Clark Masterclass tomorrow, 135 has made the call on Clark. It's going big tomorrow.
Hope he does.
Jonas traded Millera, Callahan, and Riskel for Hall, Whitfield, and Anderson. Wait, so you had Millera, you traded him out before he had his good score?
He did.
Rah. Dan Rioli, what to do? I mean, if you have him...
Oh, he bought him off the 165 last week. That's why. I think he scored like a 90. No, he scored worse than that. He scored really bad today, I think.
66.
You just hold. He's a 90s player anyway.
Yeah, he's not going to be bad for you. Like, use him as a stopgap for now. You're going to have bigger fires to put out.
VC him against Richmond anyway, mate.
Well, that's true. Dacos looked good this week, but last week was viably in pain, which is a worry. Yeah, so this is pretty much kind of what me and Brad have our concerns with in regards to bringing in Dacos with some plantar concerns. So, yeah, we'll see how we go. Romeo is a gun, back in the boy, 100%. If you have him, don't trade him out. Hold on to him. What should I do with Dan? Yep, cool. Get on that. Robert's got plenty of the ball. 7 clangers didn't help. Yeah, but this is like consistent clangers now from Roberts too. Don't forget. Like if he does a third week of like just rushing the ball on clangers, because that's what it really is. It's just a wild boot out of the D50 to try and get it out, essentially. So I think he cleans up that. He's fine. He's back to his 90s. Davidson the track this week, we reckon. I mean, yeah.
Yep.
That's probably something I might consider as well, actually. Anyone going Heaney over Dacos? Definitely a potty move. I'm not sure if we've seen... I think we've started to see the turnaround for Heaney, but I think we need to see a little bit more to make sure it's actually turned around.
Don't think Heaney's top 8, though. At least Dacos probably could be, you know?
Yeah, I think Heaney got a lot of attention because he was a forward man last year, and that was top line, whereas midfield's a harder game. Fella Magic. Brayshaw has polled Brownlow votes for 4 of the last 5 times. He has played Richmond, including 5 votes. Is this a reason to see him or a reason to think, yeah, he might send McIntosh to him? Even if he sends McIntosh to him, he's not going to do. He's going to do nothing.
I see another freaking McIntosh comment in my stream or an after dark. I'll lose my freaking mind. McIntosh tags guys and they go 120 average.
Yeah.
Might put to apologies, fella. You've actually got some valid points there. But yes, you can see Brayshaw and not worry about a tag.
Yeah, I still think the safest captain is going to be Brayshaw, for sure.
McIntosh couldn't even tag his own shadow.
Could he even see his own shadow with that bloody headband always there, honestly? JJ reckons Sinclair will be fine. Bedford is tagging the CB mids, so I think he goes to Steele and McRae at least. Well, yeah, we're hopeful that happens. If I had complete confidence that was the case, I'd happily captain Sinclair. But
bench him, JJ. Bench him because he's going to get tagged. Rookie will outscore him.
Yeah, potentially. Does Petrarca get forward status? I think he does. I think it's locked in now. So I think we can happily do that. Yep. I'm not. Who's this person? This is your language.
Not even I can understand this one. I can.
There you go, Jonas. You've gone lower than Brad's interpretation.
IQ.
Does Goldie come back in from the Bombers? Surely not. That's actually a good shout, Kaz.
Did
I
he
thought he was
sign?
gone too.
Yeah.
So
What the
yeah,
hell?
I don't know. Goldstein might. I don't think Goldstein's coming back. Cripps to Zach Merritt for me. Roberts to something maybe for Trucker. Very sidewaysy.
Cripps has scored 117 though, and then he's got North, doesn't he?
Yeah, Cripps has a decent run. TJ reckons that Goldstein's coming out of retirement.
Oh,
Sure.
we captained Finn Callahan together. Sorry, DJ, that's my fault.
There you go. Apology here first. We've almost caught up with comments, which means we can start reviewing some games. How good. Cozar, I won't leave out Ashcroft, F6, and Davidson to America, etc. this week. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to look to move on Davidson and swing maybe Ashcroft into the forward line. PWT reckons that it's just a run in circles, chasing his own tail. It is useless, and I think we're in all agreement. Gotcha. Chad Warner is that reference.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I do believe he will get DPP as well. I love Stutty. Apparently Sinclair's getting tagged tomorrow. Yeah, apparently, but again, I definitely think the world exists where McRae just goes off chain with no attention. They have no choice but to go put attention into him and let Sinclair do his thing off the halfback. And yeah, Zach Merritt has West Coast. 100%. I definitely, but you're not trading, like, yeah, but you're trading out for a game. Like, you're literally moving a primo for a primo for one game. So, JG, great question, because he didn't choose correctly with this one. As much as he wants to defend Humpty Dumpty, who looked good to start. Don't get me wrong. But it is hurting. Should he probably hold V Tigers over Davidson?
Yeah, easily. JG.
I would say so.
Yeah, I'm a Tigers man. He'll probably actually score a ton here, and then we'll be like, oh, do we keep him for the Sydney game or not?
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful. We will see if we can find some stuff on the DPP stuff, Mark.
I don't
just
think
to give you
Zach Merritt gets DPP, does he?
Yeah, I'm not too confident. But before we move on, I will share this from the great source of Scoobs, just in regards to some break-evens from tonight. So Lindsay is going to be priced at 200K with a break-even of 64. He could potentially be a trade-out, but probably more likely a hold just for 1 week.
Yep.
Track will gain DPP and be priced at 482. So lock it in. Solid price. I think he'll be the most traded in primo for next week. Reed's going up to 220K with a break-even of 70-60. So Mr. Cashbags, Reed is. Gorn is probably going to start the uptick of cash gen. This is probably going to be his bottom out price now at 581. So if you were thinking of a time to get him, probably have to do it next week. Good old Sard is going to have a break even of -11. Not horrible. Obviously still going to make some cash, but there is some, I would say, some concerns around being sub. And Clary has the potential to start losing cash from next week onwards, which is good to know. And Kako has a break even of 15. So not an immediate trade out, I would say, for Kako. Not immediately, but definitely one that needs to be in your plans, I reckon. Very good. We will start going through the game so far just to highlight some interesting things. Let's just quickly catch up on these comments. Stody being forced to field Henderson for label injury killed me this week. At least you got forced. I made the idiotic choice to do it for a bloody head-to-head. Because I was like, surely there's a spike score coming.
Yeah.
No, get subbed out. So, I mean, I deserve it, let's be honest. Dump to Dumpty 1 more week, maybe 2, then easy swap to a promo. Yeah, I pretty much agree with that from a Dumpty perspective. Lucky Marek keeps fading to lessen the blow of picking Humphrey so far. I mean, like, Marek, I think he's going to score where he's at. Like, he doesn't seem to do much outside of the kick-ins. Like, the kick-ins are just mainly his main source of the point generation. You know, so it's a very safe pick. Supercoach Lock, thanks for coming in, mate. Appreciate you joining us.
Actually.
Yeah, so have I. Very, very good bloke in the community as well. So make sure you guys check him out if you haven't done so. 260K in the bank. Henderson, Kako, and Davidson to Cleary, Gross, and Zeret next week. Solid.
Yeah, nice.
Absolutely solid trades. Have nothing to talk about with that. DJ says he's never listening to your captain recommendations ever again.
You know
Unless
what?
it's Brayshaw this week because it's backed up by me. And then if it fails, he can come for both of us.
There's one thing I've learnt, DJ. I know you're probably still in there. I'm not going to pick a pod captain as my C. I'll VC a pod, but I won't C a pod. So he had a West Coast matchup. So Finn on paper looked like he could go huge because they had like one of the easiest midfield matchups, West Coast, and then he had 3 or 4 free kicks against. The scaling wasn't even there for his handball and kicks either. So it could have been a 100 game if players like Lockie Jones and old mate didn't kick 9 goals. There's a lot of what ifs. So I'm never doing a Finn Callahan again. So I apologise, DJ. Don't listen to my captain pod options anyway.
Yeah. Dodgy Malacca, what a win for the Dons that I got to see in person. Awesome, mate. Hope you're enjoying a gather around. It looks absolutely sick over there. I'll have to try and make a trip over there at some point for it because it looks awesome.
Yeah.
Surprised I do. Yeah, I think we maybe we both go. Maybe we make a trip out of it. Surely.
We'll take Steve. He wants to go as well.
Who wants to go?
Steve from SDS.
Oh yeah. Make it a boys trip. It'll be fine. What a win for the Dons. Surprised how doing Shield didn't score as high and merit as well. Yeah. Not too sure, actually, in regards to the scoring aspects of those. I wonder if D has anything to play into it. We'll have a look at it when we go through the games. So we'll come back to that. Cool Dog Captain Gorn, awesome job. The JG reckons getting a Premier League take-offs this week, then Humphrey to track week after. Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah, Henderson just looked lost on the field. It was horrible. So rookie is Roberts and Stewart a trade. Sinclair to go the next week. I'm assuming you mean that is Stewart a trade into a Sinclair to go the next week. I mean, are you holding a Stewart? It's phrased like you're holding a Stewart. Then I'd say hold Stewart. I wouldn't trade him out because he's already bottomed out. Just hold on to him. Still a break even of 101 for Track versus Frere. Yeah, he hasn't turned up yet all season, so it's okay for wait the extra week. But definitely a must-have for those lineups for the Eagles and Tigers for sure. I think even I still think he's fine to get in. Like he's just on the precipice of hitting that ton. Like he just needs to clean up that little bit of form. Melbourne just need a little bit cleaner. I think he'll be well within the 105 range.
And he missed 2 goals too.
Exactly. Yeah, throw those 2 goals on. That's like a 110 essentially. So yeah, that's fine. And also JG's keen on the gather around as well. Oh, could be a bit of a. I hate to be on the plane for anyone who comes on with us.
Ban me from social media that weekend.
Yeah, you got to find like all our X profiles and YouTubes are going to be deactivated for that weekend. And there we go. GJ Sarong was the original captain last week, but went against it with you. Still stung me double the amount of points for C. I mean, I will agree with Brad though. Like, I also recommended Callahan because on paper it made absolute sense that he should have gone ballistic.
Yeah,
it just didn't work out that way. All right, we're caught up with the comments, so we're gonna fly through this. Really, from Adelaide, there's no one really to talk highly about outside of really Rankin, who was a questionable pick to start the game, but ended up coming out and doing a 91, and it could have been more as well. If he just, I don't know, what was his DE? 56%. So if his DE was a little bit higher, this was easily maybe a 110, I reckon.
Yep.
So good for that. Can we talk about Thilthorpe, who's had an absolutely great start of the season, but has now come back to earth?
I almost boosted for him in Sligo. I could not believe how poorly he played.
Yeah. I feel like that's the thing though, right? Because if you look at the contrast, you had Thilthorpe on 65, he also did some ruck work, but then you had Fogarty, who absolutely went off. Whereas I feel like Fogarty's been a little bit quieter over the last few weeks. So I feel like with these 2 big boys, you're probably going to have that dynamic where maybe one just has a ripper game and kicks a bag and the other doesn't.
Well, Thilthorpe has so much ruck time as well. He's literally the second ruck, so you thought his basement wouldn't be so bad because the amount of CBAs and ruck stoppages he gets. But anyway, he had a lot of free kicks against him, I think, as well.
Yeah, nothing's listed against him, but
really,
I think there was well, not free kicks against. It was 50-minute penalties, which don't particularly get recorded. And then the two dismal ones that we need to talk about is obviously Saligo and Dawson going sub 65. So sucks. Absolutely sucks.
Do you think we got sucked in because, like you said, Adelaide had an easy fixture at the start, so we kind of thought that all these players were primos, and turns out they just had an easy fixture and everyone was hyping them up?
Are you saying that on the back of hearing Mr. Kane Corns talk about if Adelaide are a good team or not?
No, I hate Kane Corns. I don't listen to anything.
That's crazy because you guys share the same thought pattern, because he also thinks that maybe we're giving Adelaide a little bit more credit than what's true because they've had a soft fixture.
Yeah, but Corns is pessimistic about Adelaide and Richmond. So he's an idiot.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I mean, Adelaide definitely have their moments where they look absolutely great. I think 5-day turnaround, probably a little bit gassed.
At home, no. 5 days is nothing. You're in your own bed.
That's true. That's true. I don't know. Maybe Adelaide aren't what they are making out themselves to be. So, guess we'll see what happens season turnaround. But Geelong, though, my boys, the Cattery, Holmes, 147. I mean, we worried about a potential ceiling on this man, and he's shown us where it is. So this is amazing stuff from Mr. Holmes. Again, I probably feel like with Stewart out, it probably fed into it a little bit. They might have a bit of an excess ceiling just because of that. The more important pick is just the consistency of Smith. Again, 54 DE, and he's skill managed a 126.
And people cry over that, but you just buy him.
CD Lovechild. Like, I think anyone who sees, like, champion data at the moment this season, and you can whine, and we've all done it. We've all had our moments of like, what? Huh? How does that work? What? Yeah. How do they deduct points? How do they only get +1? It's magical. It's a mystery number. It's fairy dust. No one really knows.
You pick the favourites anyway. You pick the guys that get points for breathing, and just instead of buying a tissue box for it.
For sure. The disappointing ones out of this one was Nevitt with a 50, who actually started the game with really high time on ground, which was odd considering that we had the injury report say it was plantar issues last week. So Chris Scott is definitely onto his shenanigans again. Closely was a late in as sub. So if you had him in as a rookie to get some bubble cash, you were severely disappointed.
DeConning.
57.
Oh my God.
57, no hit outs. So pure defensive role.
Did your mate Kai start DeConning?
I think so.
Oh, I wonder if he traded him now.
I can't remember. I hope so. But the also annoying one for those is the Connor O'Sullivan, a 42, who may have taken the place of a Reed, for example, with a bias on field.
Yeah.
So that even stings more than having Pryor on field. That's crazy.
To rely on a guy that's literally 6'8" as your D6 rough as well. Like, he only played well because it was Melbourne the week before. He's a key position player.
Yeah.
Like, it's very hard for those guys to consistently bang out 100s.
Totally agree. Now, we've spoken about this man a fair bit tonight because he is looking like a trade-in target for the next couple of weeks. They cost him 134 through a Jordan tag. Some say Ned Long was assisting in getting him off the tag. It seems like there were some blockers helping him get that score. But overall, he's going to stay around that 580, probably around 585 price. So, I mean, hey, if the plantar seems good to you and you want to bring him in, by all means do so. Others, like myself, Brad, probably have some reservations about the pick. Ned Long, how good?
Hawthorn would be kicking themselves.
Oh, yeah. It's good to see that Craig McRae actually said that he won't be starting sub for a while. So I don't know if you potentially held through, if maybe you started him or brought him in after some scores. If he's in your team, you still hold him because it looks like he might be able to bring in some coverage on the field as well for some solid scores. Look at the oldies though. So I bought him in Pendlebury.
It is early days though. It is start of season. Watch them regress, back half a little bit.
They're going to get managed 100% for sure. Really, I don't think there's really anyone else to talk about. Bury him back to where he belongs at 62.
JG didn't start him. What a good pick for him. He didn't even.
Grundy, a 122. look out. Absolutely looked fierce this game. The last 2 weeks has actually been pretty good. In a year where the Rucks look timid and unsure, if Grundy holds form, could we see what we saw last year where we actually bring him in?
Surely not. He's expired.
Yeah, you'd think so. You'd think
Yeah.
so. Heating a 118, potentially turning it around to be a trading target. Again, probably not top of the line, top 8 for midfields. And I don't believe he's going to get any DPP as he spends majority of time in midfield. So maybe one to watch if you want a bit of a pod move, but I think everyone's looking a bit elsewhere at the moment. Miami Bice, 89. Does enough, I think.
Yep. D6.
Does enough. D6, locked in D7 for the season for Brad. Been pretty hot on that take, and copping heat for it too.
It's so much heat. It's so funny. And then Steve reminded me that I said about Closey last year, and he's right. But I just love to go early on something, hope it lands, and go, yeah, see?
Yeah.
Rewind the tape. Yeah.
So my early take was the second banana theory, which seems to be playing out pretty well at the moment. So not mad about that. The man, the bleached booty, 81 DPP. This is the thing, right? Is like these DPP players are talking about Track and Chad, sitting around that 80 to high 90s at the moment. Which again, for like the forward line, you take from a consistent point of view, but you're also bringing them in for that ceiling score that you want to try and capture as well.
Who you picking? Who you picking out of Chad and Track? Because my gut feel statistic says Track.
Yeah, I'm very much the same.
Yep.
I feel like I'd pick Track over Warner any day of the week. My trade in for the week, Mr. Caden Cleary, I should have fielded, but 81. So I think he definitely becomes a viable option for a downgrade target next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Given that there's not really many other options outside of him and Gross.
The pre-workout clearly stuck this week, so it's good for him.
Sure did. Roberts, 79. I mean, enough to not really be a problem, but enough to raise some concerns and potentially move him on. I think either camp of holding or trading him, as long as you're going up and not sidewaysing, I think you're fine. Outside of that, Steldrick was sub, still managed to get a 58 with 38% time on ground. Like that's pretty solid considering some of the form that we saw early on.
Hamling's a dead rookie now, and probably there's one other player. Hanley's restarted his cash gen.
Sure has, yeah. So I was actually tracking Hanley against Cleary as well, because Hanley was ahead for most of the game. He's still at a higher price because he's had one price rise. But yeah, Cleary's still definitely a solid option for next week as well.
Yep.
North and the Suns. North looked good for most of the game, and then they just let the game get away from them. I mean,
typical
it's North.
Yep.
Legit. Daniel doing exactly what we brought him in to do. 116. Like again, seems to sit around that. Probably a floor in the high 80s, but it can definitely get into the 120s.
I thought Fisher was going to rule in his score, did you? But didn't.
I was a little bit concerned. My main concern with Fisher, though, was Sheasel, because it might have forced Sheasel to play further up. I didn't get to watch too much of this game. Let me actually see what the heat map looks like for Sheasel for this game, actually. I wasn't too sure where Sheasel played. Obviously, we saw Sheasel play more of that half-back role as Mr. Piggy last week. Let me just get it up before we have a look. So, a bit of a mixed bag, Sheasel. But
that's like
did enough.
Back.
Yeah, but did enough. Did enough. Got us in the hundreds. Definitely looks like he's found some form to a degree. So, happy with that. Simpkin turns it around again. So, we've gone from, a 60 score to back to the ton. Again, still, I don't think he's really going to be an option.
No, my dad's got Simpkin.
Huh?
My dad's got Simpkin and he knows nothing about Supercoach. So.
There you go. Say less. LDU, bit of a bounce back, I think. This is LDU for sure. Cherry, an 83, seems to be trying to work through some injury, some hamstring stuff. Honestly, anyone who faded him is getting kissed now.
Yeah, getting kissed. Like Sherry before that injury was looking prime. We're getting
Yep.
kissed here with that Gorn pick. Like I'll happily admit that.
Oh yeah. An interesting one. Voss had a ripping start and was potentially looking like a breakout. And look, considering his normal scores of like 40s, this could be considered a breakout, but not enough to kickstart his cash gen by any means, I don't think.
Nah, he'll go back to 40 next week.
Yeah, 100%.
Why did he
Hint.
get subbed out?
Yeah,
Does it
go.
say?
What was that?
Why did McKercher get subbed out there?
Gonna say.
Was he injured? Anyone in the comments like causer know? I
Yeah, not
must have missed.
sure. Let us know
Mm.
if you're lurking and you know why Kircher got subbed out. Let us know. I did not actually notice that.
Yeah.
There you go. Wasn't paying too much attention to that game. Matt Rao paying owners such as the Squadfather himself after his poor performance last week at an away game more than anything. So that's great.
Yeah.
Must have loved the Adelaide grass.
I was about to say maybe he had some the night before and he slept well.
For sure. Anderson, Mr. Consistent this year, I think.
Yeah.
Being very, very solid. Took is actually looking like if he was getting DPP, which I don't think he is, was looking like a really locked in kind of option to bring into the forward line.
Yeah.
But as a mid, yeah, it kind of sits within the top 20, but maybe a pod. Flanders just seems to be slowly getting into form.
Flanders looks so bad for his score. He looks like his decision making and shit. Oh my god, this year he just looks a shadow of himself. I don't know what it is. That 93 flatters him how he looked today. To be honest,
I definitely think it's overs, sure, based on the eye test. Humpty 74 again seems to be sitting in that 60 to 80 range.
I hate Humphrey. We got sold a stupid spud here.
Sure did. But you hope he picks it up and gives you at least an 85 next week against Tigers.
He better go 140 next week. I'm not taking anything less than 140.
You're gonna loop him again?
I probably freaking will if I can. I hate Humphrey.
Yeah.
I hate looking at his haircut. Hate looking at his sleeve. Anyway.
There you go. We already kind of touched on Riola. You had a ripper game last week, like a 160, and then literally a 100-point difference compared to last week. So rough. Who we got next? So we got some games from the Blues and West Coast.
I almost fell asleep in this game.
I know. I mean, look, the Blues finally break the streak. I mean, we kind of expected them to. I really was hoping West Coast would win, but alas, Blues somehow found form in the second half finally. Walsh 141. Nuts. I guess it's against the West Coast, right? It's a grain of salt. I feel like Walsh is up and down.
Yeah, I don't like Walsh as a pick.
Yeah. Hewitt is very consistent. One we potentially all missed.
He's a
chose
must-have.
to ignore. Yeah, he seems to be a must-have for sure. Doesn't look like things are going to change regarding that they're looking for him. It annoys me because I've been hearing his name for like 2-3 weeks consistently, and I have to talk about him because he's playing quite fucking good.
Yeah, he is.
Don't like it. Don't like it. The Garvin spike game for sure. Yeah, that's whatever. Not relevant. Decoding, I think a little bit kissed.
Kissed, 100% kissed.
Absolutely kissed. 118. So anyone who got forced into the captaincy, definitely got kissed there because you take that. Chera, Mr. Like honestly, again, touched on him earlier. You can't ask any more for a player that you bought around the 450 mark.
Yeah,
really.
he was a pod too. I think he still is.
Surely not.
He's like 15% owned, I think, around the mark. West Ham.
But yeah, 0.5% trade him in. He's literally 14.5% owned.
Yeah, it was close. Yep.
That's nuts. What a pod. Solid.
I don't know how, because every content creator talked about him, including us.
Oh, so here's the thing, right? Let me just share this. So if we go list and we go by coach's choice and we go 1%, where's Chera? So the top 1%, he's almost at 60% owned. So it kind of makes sense.
They're smart. Yep.
Yeah, kind of makes sense. They're just smart. Love that. Spoke on Cripper 114, solid game. You were kind of hoping for a turnaround. Potential trade-in target for value because he's going to bottom out in price over the next, I think next week.
The goal saved him too here.
Yeah, it did. So he got 3.3, so 3 goals, 3 behinds. Could have gotten more, really, if you just kick more goals, but is what it is. Curnow looked better this week, 98.
Yeah, he's up against a waffle side.
That's it too. And then I think was it Carroll as well, 60 as I think he's a 99k defender as well. Does he continue to get a run? We definitely need to see one more game for him before
You
he
don't
even
trust
becomes.
Voss, though. Voss stitched us up with Campo, so stuff Voss. I hope he gets sacked.
Yeah. If they lose next week, 100% sacking is on the table for sure. West Coast, nothing too crazy to talk about. Graham, probably not really relevant, or Duggan. American 84, again, just kind of walks into a safe score with a kick-in roll. Like, it's just a really nice roll. If he did more outside of the roll, like, he'd be an awesome pick, but he just doesn't seem to do that much. So, anyone else? We've got Clay Hall, actually, 52. Definitely better at the start of the game, but 100% DE.
And he played wing in the last quarter, didn't touch it in the last quarter at all.
Yeah, so there was some roll move, which is probably a bit concerning, but it is what it is. Disappointingly, Sandy Brock, 39.
Yeah, key position player, though, so.
Yeah, it is what it is. But the main man himself,
Yep.
Tom Gross, 82. Solid option for next week to bring in.
I think he was a third-round pick in the pick 40s or 50s this year, so I think he was a slider, though. He was a draft slider. He was meant to go 20, 30 sort of range, and he slid. So, yeah, good pickup. Just hope he sticks, because if you have Hall, Hewitt, and Gross, well, at least one of them's going to play every week.
Well, that's when you got to start taking your pick, really, and just hope you chose the right one. So you're going to have a bench full of a Hall and a Gross and potentially a Hewitt all in one line. Imagine that.
Literally.
Imagine that. But really no one else relevant. I will touch on BJ Williams, just for Supercoach God, who scored a massive 12 for the game.
I hope Steve held Flynn then as well.
I mean, I'd love Flynn to get named next week after God traded him out to Briggs.
He would flip. He'd have a meltdown.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So, there's bloody moth flying around. It's still my absolute head in.
I was wondering what you're trying to get. I wasn't sure what the hell.
I'm trying to catch CD's fucking scoring algorithm, and I can't see it. Magical.
Things you got to touch them.
Yeah. Try to grab something that doesn't fucking exist. Jumping into Bulldogs and Brisbane. It was looking like an absolute ripper game, but Lions just kind of turned it around and did what they do. Our boy Ed Richards on 113.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, tied for most contested possessions and was second in clearances. So
he handballs too much for me, though. Have you noticed? I know his kicks got more than handballs, but he's such a handball merchant.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? I think that from a clearance perspective as well, like, yes, he had 8 clearances, but I'm not sure how clearances are marked, though. Like, clearances when they just kick it out of CBA, or is it like a handball out? Does that I'm not sure if that counts as a...
I actually don't know. I thought it was kicking out, but I could be wrong.
I think so. I thought so too. And that's the issue, is because he'll usually pick it up from the CBA off the ruck line and handball out.
Yeah.
So he gets the contested possession, but then doesn't get the clearance.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of left on the table there. English 112. Sure. Libba, just over a ton. Libba's been great. This is solid. If you can't really complain if you started him and you held on to him. Did look a bit worse for wear, though. He looked pretty gassed at some moments. So I wonder if he's going to start potentially, taking a back seat, especially with Bond coming back into the side.
It was a hot day too.
Yeah, it was absolutely cooking that day. Very, very hot. So can't blame them. Sam Darcy, 87. I mean, still a good pick if you brought him in.
If he converted
Honestly.
one more of those goals, if he went 3-2, that's a ton.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Because especially towards the end of the game too, the scaling on that. Oof. Mr. Dale, hello floor.
I didn't realize it was that bad. Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
68. Yeah, it was bad. Bad floor.
Mm-hmm.
Kennedy touched down to earth again after having a few games. And then Davidson just, again, this is that wing roll. He had that spike score, which made us probably hold on to him longer than what his form showed. Like, his form in that game was amazing. Don't get us wrong. But this is very much the reality of that role / player.
Yeah.
Fraser, everyone who traded him out, definitely the right call. If you held on because you had other stuff to do with your team, hurts massively. That's really the only person. That's really the only people. Brisbane, it gets more exciting. So you got Suitcase 135. Just seems to be doing all the right things this season so far.
It's crazy.
Absolutely crazy. See, the forwards went out of their skin scaling wise. Just scaling to get back into the game and then win it. Will Ashcroft seems to be the now leading mid scorer out of Brisbane for the last couple of weeks. So the hold as probably one of the best holds of the season, it would be, I imagine.
Yeah.
And then we see here, really funny here, we see baby Ashcroft leveling with Neil at a 90 and outscoring Dunkley by 2. And even Zorko by 6.
It's crazy.
Zorko, crazy. Crazy.
I think I can put Ashcroft into F6 if I make some moves.
Yeah, I think most are going to look to swing maybe Davidson out and then bring in, a Levi Ashcroft and swing him down to that F6 position because he definitely has more cash to make. His break even is going to be nice for that and clearly provides some solid on-field points as well.
He's the last grade you upgrade. Him and Bice are your last 3 upgrades.
Definitely. The last game to talk about, as it just happened tonight, and then we'll go back into the comments before we'll probably wrap up in the next 20 to half, depending on how active you guys are. So if you want us to keep going with the comments, essentially. We're degenerates, essentially, aren't we, Brad?
Yeah, pretty much. We sleep under rocks.
Yeah, and it's Supercoach after dark, so it means exactly what it sounds like. Speaking of getting kissed, we've mentioned it a few times. Gorney, a 145 against a Sherry's 80 score. Could you get kissed any harder?
Probably not. I think we're one of the only ones that admit when we get kissed, to be honest. Well, a lot of people will be talking about getting kissed much, but yeah, Gorn's a good pick, but I didn't think he'd be outscoring Cherry due to that hammy injury that he's got.
You were going Gorn instead of Sherry because you were just hoping the fixture leveled them out.
That and the fact that Briggs wasn't playing round 1.
I have just noticed a comment JG has left in the chat, and I nearly just absolutely lost my shit at it. We'll get to that very shortly. Track 96, again, just on the precipice of getting that ton. I think is a very viable trading target next week, given the DPP will fit in very, very nicely. How that moves, though, is really, for someone like myself, I'll quickly go to my team to share this. We have this sort of situation here, right? So I've only got one rookie spot. If I want to move Ashcroft into Davidson's, where am I fitting in track?
F6.
And then what? Just keep Ashcroft in the midfield?
Yeah, for weight changes, I suppose.
Yeah, fair. Or maybe flex. Maybe. One to consider. Salem seems to have done enough. Outscored Bowie this week with 85. Bowie's been a very quiet smoky, as in like a good smoky pick that's gone kind of under the radar for what he is. I mean, there was some concern about his scoring potential with May back in the team, but for his price, he's done quite well, scoring 85s and even a ton of, when May was out. So very solid. Clary, the fellow Ginger, 86 is just doing enough to not be a major problem, but he may start bleeding cash if he loses some form. Again, 66 DE though.
He just can't start rangers anymore. That's the issue.
Man, you got to leave my kind alone. Pickett 81. Pickett seems to be in pretty decent form. I don't think he's really viable from a Supercoach perspective. I'm not sure on the ceiling of him, but that seems to be like a good injection back into the Melbourne team to help out, which is nice. Langford is 67. I know some people bought him in last week. He was named. I know he spent some time forward as well. But again, at that price he paid for him, I'm not sure if you're winning or if you're just breaking even. Obviously, the disappointing one here for most is if you held on to Lindsay, you then got a 48. DE wasn't too bad at a 78. Just, yeah, Melbourne just got rolled, really.
Yep.
That's just one of those things. So then May obviously spent some time on the Pine with some concerns. And then I will talk about him. I don't want to. Henderson, 13, just ran away from the ball, wasn't running to open space or anything. Just was just following really track or any of the other CBA mids around, perhaps, and it just never came.
Generally,
And then he got subbed off.
he looked like he was eating crayons. Honestly, that's how like I was about to say the R word there. That's how special he looked tonight. Like I just couldn't believe it. I was like, what am I? I didn't emergency or anything, but like when you see a rookie that you bought for 99K, you've got low expectations, but you don't expect them to be subbed out, do you?
I mean, you kind of expected. He was barely near the ball. I mean, if anyone's going to be subbed out, it was always going to be him. And then in the instant the sub was made, Sharp goes ahead and kicks a goal.
He's done. He's not coming.
100% he's done. Like that sealed the deal. Like the impact that Sharp had the moment he stepped on the ground versus Henderson, ridiculous. Anyway, that's I'll cry myself to sleep about that choice tonight, but that's all right. Doing merit things, Mr. Consistent, always sitting in that 1 to 140 range. You never know what you're going to get. I really hope Scobes was here listening in, but he's probably getting some well-needed rest after having a good cry about Sardis not getting picked. Setterfield definitely kept a spot with this performance.
Settle Goat is back.
So 110. Did some work into Oliver from what I could have seen. Had some contested possessions, some clearances, decent DE, lots of tackles, like a 10 tackle count. Absolutely massive. And then Draper held his own against Gorn too, given that he was given pretty much sole ruck duties as well.
Do you think Draper's the kind of guy that owns a VT Commodore and drinks Monster on the way to work?
No, I reckon he has the breakfast of champions. I reckon it's a VB, mate. Like he's got the old like ratted out ute with the full like cut muffler, everything like that, straight from the gasket. It's the hair, mate. It's the hair that does it. Always wearing footy or tradie, like footy shorts or tradie shorts. Never out of them. Got some dirty steely blues on the feet, unzipped, not tied up or anything, just loosely fitting. 100%, mate. If he wasn't wearing a footy uniform, you'd expect him to be in a bloody tradie uniform consistently and never out of it.
Or Crime Stoppers photos stealing alcohol.
Yeah, running out a thirsty camel. Nick Martin 108. I mean, I know there was a bit of a pod pick. He's been up and down. I don't really think he's relevant. Ridley seems to be doing all right as well, and Ridley definitely seems to be aiding Reed and Pryor. Pryor really taking most of the heat in regards to any big matchups as well.
Yeah.
Durham a 105, and just with that, I will go back to this comment by JG. Durham looked good. Sucks not earning. Sure did. Sure did. So love that so much for Durham. Been pretty good form for the Dons. But obviously the biggest one to talk about for us is Reed, a rookie going a ton. Just back to back really good performances for him. You really can't ask any better from a rookie, really.
In hindsight, you could VC him if you had known.
I know a lot of people went like some risky boys went VC on Miami Vice.
I almost did.
Reed. I know Spilsy from Swordplay was betting on a tattoo as well if he went 130 or something. Crazy things. And then Pryor just down here doing a 54. A disappointing Kako 38. Not an immediate trade out. We looked at the break-ins before, which I'll quickly show again. Caco's got a break-in of 15. So if you've got more problems, go for them. Caco's not an immediate trade out. And that's all the teams reviewed. So we smashed through that.
What players left on your side too to play? I'd like to know.
So great question. So I have Mr. Whitfield, which could potentially become a Brayshaw by Morningham. I have Mr. Sinclair. I have McRae, the horny one, and Moraes.
So how many primos and how many rookies is that? Sorry.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 primos and 1 rook.
All right. I've got Clark left. I've got Rosie left. Brayshaw left. So that's 3. McRae 4. I forgot my boy Finn Callahan 5, but he's not a primo.
Yeah. Solid. No rookies left. So just the. That's solid. That's solid. Your projection's probably going to go up. Like your actual scores probably your projection's unders for sure.
It hasn't predicted that Reid is my D6. It also hasn't understood that TDK is my captain.
Yeah. So and this is why we don't read the projections, guys. It doesn't pick up what your plan is. So I'd probably say your overall score is probably sitting close, if not higher than mine, given who you've got left.
Projections are like asking your woman what they want for dinner. You just don't know what you're going to get. They don't know what they're going to get. They don't even know what they want for their coffee. Like they order the same thing and they'll still go, oh, what am I doing? It's just like your projections, no different.
Legit. If you have a high projection, it's like the misso asking for a large triple cheeseburger meal from Macca's. Or it could be them just wanting to share your fries. They don't want to actually eat. They just want to eat your food.
Yeah, like what the hell is going on with that? I don't get it. Anyway, don't get me started. Too much life experience with this.
That is all right. So let me catch up to where we were with the comments. Where were we? Going through that. Yep. Causa Backett still pissed about being a North fan. They are competitive in some parts, and they're not either.
It's not too.
I mean, being a North fan is a choice. Let's just make it very clear. You're not held hostage.
I'd rather go for a VFL side at this point, or maybe just change codes.
Potentially. Aaron, worth going Sarong over Brayshaw for a league matchup pod? Sure.
Only if it's a cash league.
Valid point. If it's a cash league, yes, do that. Lachlan, I can bring in either Whitfield or Sinclair. Which ones do you prefer? Purely on price, you have to go Whitfield. I don't think you bring in Sinclair for top dollar because he probably will cop attention and come back down. So, I mean, potentially he may not, and he might keep rising. So, I think you've missed the prime time to get Sinclair. You just got to go Whitfield.
Have you seen prime time play footy in Instagram? Prime time. I'll send it to you. I don't even have you on IG, but I'll find you. I'll hunt you down.
Nah, send it to me. Just send me a thing. I don't even have Insta.
Oh, really?
Like I'm so far gone from socials, mate. Like X and YouTube. Yeah, I was. It's so much more peaceful, bro.
Yeah, I should probably get a follow.
So much more productive too. So much more productive. Do we reckon Dacos is a must-have based on the way he absolutely shook off the Jordan tag? I mean, we've pretty much covered this, but the short verdict is sure, bring him in if you love him. Some might have some reservations about the plantar issues flaring up and causing some down games with some time on ground issues and potentially being managed.
Agreed.
Me and Brad are definitely in the camp of being on the side of caution with that one.
But I also
Jack says hello, Jen. Yeah, go.
Also recommended to see Finn Callahan, so what do I know?
Yeah, well, that's also true. You got to take what we say with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
We are purely just content creators. I literally, the name of my channel is Rookie Coach. I can't vouch for Supercoach Pro because it's in his name.
Don't. It's Supercoach God, and then you're like, what are you doing, God? So I realized that when I made my name Pro, I was like, oh no, if I have a bad week, I'm going to live and die by this sword.
Yeah. So, g'day, Jack. Welcome in, mate. Glad you're hanging out with us on a late Saturday night. Who to trade Henderson out for? Probably a Cleary or a Gross. I don't think there's
Crayons and
anyone
a
else.
pack of the twisties.
I think that's a fair trade. Centre bounce. Big J, what's up? Yes, we are still off. We are degenerates. It is Supercoach after dark. So you never know. It could go for 2 hours, could go for 3 hours. Given that Brad has had an energy drink and finished it probably no more than 30 minutes ago, we'll probably go for as long as the comments do because it is a weekend.
As Jono would say, I'm up and about.
Up and about. We are up and about just like John are with the Saints. SW, I've held on to Flynn. I mean, honestly, it could turn around good for you. Let's be like, there is a world next week where Flynn gets named, given his waffle performances.
Yeah.
Would be decent. Yeah, go.
Oh, no, nothing. It was a bad pun. I was going to say not the blue one. Because after dark, yeah.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Jack, lads, a clearance is simply the person who gets the first effective disposal out of a stoppage. It's a slightly misleading term. Oh, thank you, Jack. That is very good to know. I wonder if that does affect Richardson's score or not. There you go. Community knows more than us. What's new? Forza for Archie. He got like 30 points of scaling for his goal to get in front of the Dogs. Yeah, that's why the forward scored so much, because it was just very much a influential goal to win the game. Jonas the GOAT, being literally the GOAT, saying for everyone to give the stream a thumbs up. Good crowd here of 80, and it has been an absolute crowd. You guys have been absolutely awesome. We've been sitting around the 75 to 90, 85 mark. So absolutely enjoy you guys being here to chat with me and Brad about maybe not even Supercoach stuff and talking about, Misso's eating habits. So you're always in for a good time when it's myself and Brad and any guests that come here at Supercoach Dark after dark. It's going to be a little bit rowdy, a little bit promiscuous. Brad may be naked at some point. You never know.
Yeah, bro. Imagine. I always get worried that I haven't turned off my computer when I shut down, and I'm like, anyway. Imagine if you're still alive.
No. Brad says that, but that's just his OnlyFans that he does afterwards. So that's that's where that Borderland mask comes from, guys. Just to let you know, the mask stays on.
Yeah, just to hide the identity. I think the tats would give it away.
Yeah, just no, not at all, mate. Not at all. Bailey Williams goes bang. What an animal. Yeah, it was definitely a big game from Mr. Williams. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Gord's fixture coming up is looking good. Has Eagles and Tigers up soon. Yeah, Eagles. I mean, look, I would love to back in Gorn for this, but we chose him for the reason of that Keith matchup, and he didn't do it. Maybe he was just out of form, and maybe he's come back into form, so it might be a different story with Eagles. But Tigers, Nank isn't an easy run by any means. Like, let's not forget it. Tigers overall, yes, easy matchup, but Nank is a decent ruckman, so
yeah,
I wouldn't be expecting too much.
He'll have a field date on Eagles, but not necessarily Nank. Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Zeus is wondering, do we go Stewart, Track, or Dacos?
Dacos breaking on the break evens. Shit, I can't speak. Because Stewart's still got 1 or 2 weeks until he's bottomed out. Petrarca's got 1 week until he's bottomed out. Dacos, you know what you're going to get from him, I suppose, as well. He's the better player of those 3 picks, barring his foot. But what would you do in this case if it was next week?
I'm more inclined to play the value game, so I would go Track this week and Stewart next.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
But I also, that is only purely because I'm in the camp of being cautioned by Dacos's planter concerns.
Yeah. Yep.
If you 100% want to get Dacos in this coming week, do so by all means. If it fixes your midfield or gets a rookie off field or whatever it is, sure. I think you have more options to strengthen the overall team if you go for a Track and Stewart, though, because it's easier to get rookies up to those.
Can you do me a favour? That last comment says...
mate, it's too late for you to ask me favours. Come on now.
CHE says 47. SC Pros, anyone ever said you look like Brad Close? Can you put a picture of Brad Close? I just want to see what he looks like.
Brad Close, Geelong. Now he says it. I just see it.
I got mistaken for a footy player years ago when I first moved to Geelong in 2014. And I forgot who it was. I can kind of see that. Yeah, I'm still better looking by far, but I'll take it.
I mean, it's not a bad, you know.
I just need to have the hairstyle like him, and I'm probably set.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you got a bit of hair now. Like, you're not completely
Hi-
bald.
Hippo looks like Isaac Rankin. Supercoach Hippo looks like Rankin.
I mean, I found a better like for like comparison though.
Literally, this is who I look like, 100%. Same shape, same biceps, everything. That's my boy.
Yeah. For those that don't know, this is Josh Hunt.
Yeah,
And it's a long going on joke that Brad is the build of this man right here.
this is how I see myself when I'm doing bicep curls.
Yep, 100%. Bosner says Lever's still out. It's out Bowley. Yeah, 100% it has. Jack says Dacos will never be a bad pick, but I reckon target value. Yeah, so me and Jack very much on the same page. I don't think you can go wrong with Dacos, but I think if you target value where you can and it helps get your rookie off fields, I think it leaves you being ahead of the comp rather than in line. So, see, Brad's just leaning back, giving a flex already. So he's spoken about Jim, and now he's just like,
My legs are sore. Not my third one. My legs are just so sore on this couch.
thank you for the clarification on that one, mate. We all needed that. Draper rocking it against Gaunt. Yeah, 100%. Draper definitely held his own. Mark also says Reed had a nice game, coming on nicely. And yeah, I think this is definitely a turnaround. So we saw him get absolutely pelted by the three-headed monster in Adelaide's forward line. And I think that was a massive learning experience for him. And he's benefited greatly and bounced back very well from that. So I dare say that he learnt from that. And it's literally just a turnaround because of that. Oh, DJ Callahan is a rookie at this point. Probably tend to agree.
This is an annoying thing. I can't trade him out now. Because I've got nothing to move to. Only a couple games left. I've got nothing to do until next week.
Yeah, there you go. Causer, at least I love my second team in the Giants. Never miss a game. Oh, there you go. I'd just go full-time Giants.
I would.
Yeah, move on. Delete them from socials. Block them. They never want to talk to them again.
Yeah,
Easy
go for the
done.
orange team.
The orange team, 100%. Set a bounce clear and Grossi next week for me. Yes, I think they're going to be the most common trade-ins for rookies next week as well.
Even Big J, if you're watching, just go for Tassie next year or potentially Giants as well as Causer.
Watch Tassie come out and imagine first game in Tassie versus Roos. Tassie smash them.
They have to merge at that point.
Should. Definitely should. George Hewitt over Dacos this week for 15k cheaper.
I don't mind it, actually, to be honest. I watched him play. He looked bloody good. Hewitt looks back to, I think 2 years ago, he averaged 111 before that back injury that took him out for 18 months. He looks good.
He does look good, as much as I hate to fucking admit it. Always finds a way to keep that bloody name in my mouth. I hate it. Get it out. Jonas, forget a grain of salt. Take what you fellas say with a bottle of Jack. Even better, Jonas. Especially in the Supercoach After Dark.
Do you remember when Kesha had to change her lyrics for that song with the bottle of Jack? I won't say who.
I do remember.
Yeah, anyway. That's what I thought of immediately.
Big J, nice one in Adelaide. Go Bombers. Yes. Rue's absolutely getting it. Did Clayton Oliver get tagged? He did cop attention from Setterfield. So, and Clary just fumbles. He does not handle tags well. Set about yeah, man. S did very well. Yep. And that was the comment before. Frankie, what's the trade looking like next week? Removing dead rooks such as Campo and Henderson or look for upgrades?
What
really team dependent
for you?
I'm probably there's two minds. It's hold on to Roberts and potentially Davidson and just focus on if Sardis isn't named. Oh, I'm probably I don't even know yet. I don't even know because I want track. It might be I might have some hope that Sardis comes in, even though the hope is all gone. But just because there's cash on his head, I might trade him out. I literally might burn a boost again just to get Henderson, Sardis, and potentially Davidson out to get track in Gross, or at least track and Gross in. So I don't know. Trades are Yeah, sketchy. What are you looking at for your trade so far?
Yeah, I've been thinking about. I don't know how to, so I'm going to grab Cleary and Gross, even if they're only in the side for 2 or 3 weeks to make 100k.
Yeah.
The only players I'm looking at trading in my side that the break evens has sort of done is Davison. Humphrey, man, he plays Richmond and he'll score well. I know he will.
Yeah.
I've got no one I can really move on to. Henderson, I suppose I could, but my cows haven't fattened up yet. I could turn Callahan and Henderson and Davis into a boost and then grab 2 rookies. I just don't know how much money I'd have left over to do that.
Yeah.
But if Finn goes 100 this week, then I'm just going to hold him.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know what his pass mark would be though. Like, what's his pass mark at 440? What are you expecting from a guy like Oliver? Sort of hasn't failed. Ed Richards hasn't failed. Chera hasn't failed at his price. This guy, I can't really do much. Like, I've got he's priced at about 80 something, so he's a bit of a nothing pick. Anyway,
one to consider, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Set of bounce Ruse for life. So that's a rough ride.
That would shorten my lifespan.
Anthony, do I do Clayton to Dacos? Probably not.
No, I don't think it's worth that.
Melbourne's got a good run coming up, so
yeah,
probably not. And yes, Kozar, got to consider buy rounds when you look at trade-ins. Not that worst case you can trade out by all means, but do keep that in consideration. Jonas reckons even with DPP to ditch Henderson before Campo, as Hendo has made cash, whereas Campo hasn't, and I totally agree.
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah, maybe just a Davidson and Henderson out for me to bring in Gross and see what happens. Or even it might even just be a Henderson to Gross. Like it could be just a very easy week for me trade wise, just because I went a bit early on Cleary. Did about Silthorpe, Kako, and Henderson out for Cleary, Gross, and Merritt. I think not bad. You got in Silthorpe this week though.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. You just hold Silthorpe.
He'll come good. It's just that roller coaster of the three-headed monster. Fogarty had a ripper game. It was always going to be his game. And I think Silthorpe will be fine.
He gave away a 50 as well, Silthorpe. So
yep.
The roll's there, but the ruck contest's there. Like he's a solid 85 and 90 at worst.
For sure. So thanks, Rankin. He is still a hold.
Yes.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, from someone who was not even going to be a lock into play, we definitely had some kisses passed around.
Yeah.
Lots of kisses this weekend.
Yeah, 100%.
I hope you bought your chapstick. Yeah, poor cream. Robert's gone the following week. Yeah, I said whether you hold or trade, I don't think you can do wrong. Unless Robert comes out and smashes a 115, then probably wrong. Supercoach a lock. Glad to see you still in here, mate.
Mm.
Dons have never lost to Melbourne at Adelaide.
Wow.
There you go. That's actually really interesting. Dons actually have a consistent win against a team. Awesome. Thoughts on Ned Long? Look,
he missed the boat.
Yeah, I think if you didn't start him and you didn't hold him through those sub games, I don't see a reason to bring him in. Yes, it's been said that he's not going to be sub for a while. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about it. I probably wouldn't. I'd probably just go Gross, honestly, and just bank the cash. Set of bounds, I've got 2 forward spots left. I think it's going to be Truck and Nick Martin.
So Nick Martin gets forward status, obviously, by the sounds of it. Is that what he's alluding to?
Yeah, I think Nick Martin will get forward status.
That's good. I like Martin.
I think Martin will be good. I think that Truck's definitely a lock. Still unsure about Martin, but
I kind of like Martin better than Warner. I don't know. Is that weird?
Yeah, no, that's actually a fair shout.
Like Martin can score well anywhere he plays. Have you noticed that?
What was that? Sorry.
Martin can score well anywhere he plays.
Yes. Very true. Yeah, I'd definitely put Martin above Chad Warner for sure. G47 it says, nice jersey, rookie. Are you a Raptors or just VC? I'm guessing fan. I'm a general basketball fan. Also do love Vince Carter, but just love NBA in general. Very much a basketball guy before I was a main footy guy. So represent. I've got heaps of jerseys. So I might just have to rotate through the jerseys on stream just for you, Chi. Anthony, do I captain Matt Rao next week?
Yep.
Who's he got next week?
Tigers.
They got it. Oh, 100% you do. 100%. Jack, sorry, a bit delayed here. That's all right, mate. We've got nothing but time. And that wasn't me being sarcastic, by the way, before anyone goes, well, that's a bit rude. Calling my man Eddie Richards a handball merchant is criminal. Look at his ratios, score involvements, inside 50s. Was rated the best kicker inside 50 last year. Yeah. Suck on that, Brad.
It's more the fact that, like, when you're watching him, like, maybe we've got high expectations, but because he's such a good kicker, he's got a lot of time and space, and, like, sometimes he'll handball and he's uncontested. No one's near him for 15 metres. And you're like, why aren't you just chipping it over top? Why are you handballing to a player that's in traffic? So I suppose on the eye test, sometimes he could do the long kick and hope Darcy can mark it. Like, I don't want him to be a 57-43 ratio guy. I was actually expecting a little bit more because of his ball use. But, look, he's right in his comment what he's saying here about, the ratio is pretty good. But I suppose I probably just want a little bit more from a midfielder.
See, I kind of have my expectations limited with Richards just because Bont is out of the team. Like, Richards did well when he moved to the midfield and had Bont.
Yep.
So the heat was there. It was more of that free roamer that could pick up that scrap and then go.
Yeah.
But this is why I started Richards, because I loved his form towards the end of last season. I didn't pick him up because my team was in shambles. My first year, I had no clue what I was doing. I probably didn't have the trades left to do it anyway. But no, I think Richards is an absolute hold for the moment. I don't see any need to bring him out. And ideally, I'm holding him past Bont's return. So we'll see how that goes. Because Martin was 55% forward and 45% mid, I swear, but whatever is the high position he'll get. Yeah, so I reckon he'll still get forward, even though he still had some pretty evenly split between mid and forward. I still think he's on track for forward DPP. Jonas, with DPPs, his forward line is going to be complete with Rankin, the Horny Man, McRae, Bailey Sniff, Tractor, and Daniel with Davidson and Stone on bench. What do you think of that forward line, Brad?
Yeah, pretty good. He's not really missing much there, apart from his boy that scored 100 this week, and he traded him out before that. So, other than that,
You're not going to let him forget that, aren't you?
Yeah, never going to forget that.
Love that. That's a solid forward line. I'm probably going to be looking at this exact same forward line if I choose to bring Track in and put him down at F6 and move someone else to the bench potentially. So, very good. Guys think on Track, why he looks spent. I think he looks good. He's also just trying to do a lot for Melbourne at the moment. Like, no one else is really assisting him. Like, Clary had attention, so he wasn't as helpful as he usually is. Like, you had guys like Rivers trying to come help. Like, Langford's still learning the ropes. Just, yeah, is what it is. Chief 47, A good stuff, favorite player. Look, it's not really controversial, but my favorite player to date, even though he's not in his prime anymore, was James Harden. So I've got a few James Harden jerseys. Fear the beard. Absolutely love it. Left-hander. I'm a left-hander.
I thought he was talking about footy, so I was confused, and I was like, who are you talking about?
Well, my favorite player footy-wise has to be Tommy Stewart, my doppelganger. Come on.
Is it actually?
Yeah, 100%.
Damn.
He's an absolute lunatic on the field. Hardest head in the comp. Just ferocious. Absolutely.
Do you know who my favourite player is?
Go on.
It's in the team name. The Bont identity. Bont.
You're so generic.
Oh, come on.
So basic, bro.
You know what? If I had to be non-generic, it's actually Took Miller.
Hey, I like that. Say that first.
Yeah, the Bont's just obvious because he's so damn good, and I've loved him for the last 4 years at least. But Took Miller, like, he's just such a hard nut, and he can kick goals too. Like, this year, he's awesome.
For sure. For sure. We will probably look to wrap up in a few minutes, guys, as it is getting to 1 o'clock, and the comments are slowing down. So perfect time, I think, to slowly wrap it up. We'll get through these last few comments. Said about Richards burnt me last year, never again. Yeah, I mean, there are some worthy never again lists for sure, but they always find a way to hurt you. Does well when he does well, but can't carry it when the game goes south. Yeah, it's definitely one of those ones where he needs a little bit of the assistance from teams to maintain like the scaling in close games for sure. I definitely will agree with that. There we go. The answer to the question on Richards is due to the doggies' terrific coaching, also the attention he cops. And when Bond comes back, I'd say he scores more. There you go. But are you planning to hold him until Bond comes back as well?
I'm going to hold him the whole season, I reckon. I reckon he'll play better with us as well.
There you go. So we're both on the same page regarding Richards. Jonas seems to be a basketball fan as well. James Harden, the playoff Liberty games, in the least efficient player in the NBA. Look, this is why I said in his prime. Not saying he's still good or anything like that. But come on. Got it. He's there. He's there. Step back king. Exactly. Yes, Lil Rich. Funny tonight, yelling on doing an emergency press conference about D's, and then they need another key forward for sure. I wish there was a world where Lil Rich got back into the AFL. Would be amazing. The AFL do any like celebrity matches or anything like that anymore?
I haven't seen one in years, I don't think.
Because like Lil Rich would be perfect for that.
Yeah, I never watched them like a lot anyway, because it was always like a piss take. They're always so bad, and then I don't know. It was always just a retirement village.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Holding or trading Campo. I mean, he's not doing anything. He's not losing your cash. He's not making you cash. Whereas like a Henderson's probably going to lose you cash. So he's probably not like the main priority to trade out. So I think you probably need to trade him out. What do you think?
Depends if you can weep him with your other players, I suppose, on the fixture for Carlton and your rookie bench.
Well, let's have a look. What's the fixture? Friday night next week. Then he's got a Sunday. So round 7, you can potentially use him as a loop.
Yep.
So it might be worthwhile holding on to. Fabled. There you go, mate. Danger getting forward DPP this week. Am I crazy to consider him?
Yes. I'd rather Jeremy Cameron.
And I tend to agree purely because there are rumors that he's been playing really well, don't get me wrong, but there's soft tissue concerns that are already impacting him. So the likelihood of him getting managed and rested for easier matchups is very, very real. So I would be cautious of that.
Because unlike the Roos, they have to rest him for finals.
Bang bang. Love it. Is playoff James Harden appreciate shit. I will watch that as I go to sleep tonight, just to make myself cry, Jonas. Parfit may be back in the AFL and mid-season draft, as apparently West Coast might pick him up. I have heard the rumors. I did see a clip, Closet, about someone talking about. I think it was Hamish, yeah, talking about that. So potentially, because apparently he's close with Mr. Kelly. Mr. M5, as Damo from the Footy Mailbag would say. Jack, if you've seen Richards in person in that preseason, you'd keep in. Trust me, boys. Live 30 seconds from Witten. Jack, yeah, ain't got to convince us, Jack. We're there. We're already there. We were never leaving.
I wonder which Jack there is, because there's a Jack on Twitter that comments on a lot of my stuff, and he's so insightful as too. So I wonder if it's the same guy.
There you go, Jack. If that's the same Jack, is that Jack? Jack, lots of Jacks. Jack-offs. It's officially 1 a.m., guys. You should, if there's any like structure to the After Dark streams, it gets more rowdy as the night goes on. Less filters. If you catch me on Monday nights and abouts, you won't get any of this sort of stuff. So pays to be here because it's where the fun really happens.
Literally.
Jack has a question for us, fellas. How bold of you to assume our gender? I traded out Fraser and Callahan this week. I have Nod could revert to Flynn, but I can field him at flex, replacing Murphy Reed versus Richmond.
I traded out for Eric.
Brad's lost it.
I was still thinking about that comment. It's just the most hipster Geelong thing I've ever heard. That's probably like I've heard on a dating
Oh,
app before.
apparently you guys think I'm hipster enough to make fucking almond latte decaf fucking frappuccinos. So, you know.
You do look like you would
Shut
go
up.
Sunday 7 a.m. bike ride, wearing some lycra and possibly grab a latte on the way through.
You know what? One of these days I'm going to dress up as a barista because I reckon I could pull it off, and I'll literally run out with a yeah. I'll literally bring some empty coffee cups just for the sake of it.
We go on gym tomorrow.
It depends what time. I got a new TV arriving.
What the fuck?
I got to get delivered. I got to be home for the TV to get delivered.
Oh, that's so random. All right, I'll message you then later on.
Mate, it's a new TV, mate. It's like 65-inch. It's going to be beautiful to watch footy on.
True.
We say thanks for watching maths and rom-coms. We're watching footy.
Mate, when they want to watch maths, like, oh my god. Anyway,
well, I'm not gonna lie. The drama's fun. It's funny. It's whatever because everyone's absolutely lunatic. But anyway, back to Supercoach related stuff, guys. We got a bit unhinged there for a minute. Look, reverting back to Callahan, I don't mind. It saves you a trade. I think.
Yeah, it would.
What do you think? Yeah.
I like Murphy Reid against Richmond as well, actually.
Yeah. But Jack also said he sees a world where Reid goes 100 and Finn goes 50.
Yeah.
Look, I put Reid at the flex, 100%.
If Finn gets tagged, yeah.
There you go. Mark, coming in with the deep questions. So the players I've said about tonight are players I'm thinking of traders, but you guys have made some good points on keeping them. So with 28 trades left and 1 boost left, leave no trades. I mean, so the thing is, Mark, there's always a case for trades or no trades, holds, trade outs. Like there's a case to be made for all that sort of stuff, and it's very team dependent. So, and this is like my stance when it comes to not only myself, but what I think as content watchers for you guys, part of the community. Take whatever we say really with like your own filter and own lens for your team. Like I think it's really hard for like we love when you guys reach out for advice and want to chat trades and all that sort of stuff. And I've touched on it before. I will always give you the pros and cons for both options or both players or whatever it might be, purely because like. For me, at least, and it's just how I am naturally, I want to be more of like an educator and informant, not necessarily the decision maker for you. So I want to give you a brief glimpse into the world of what your trades might look like and what it might look like for your team. So yeah, if you hear stuff that we talk about and like, oh, that's a really good point. We spoke about before how it shifts your gut feeling into a different direction. We say follow that feeling. That can be influenced by many things, but follow that. So if your team is relatively fine, you haven't got many fires to put out, Mark, and you think it's very viable to hold trades and save them for a rainy day, maybe the target you want Stewart, and you need to get him in 2 weeks. Maybe you just have a no trade week, or maybe you make 1 trade to get a dead rook off or something like that. That's not a bad option, and even potentially something I look at doing. So, yeah, by all means, what do you think, Brad? Give us your take.
Yeah, this is a good one actually. Ties in with what you're saying as well. Is so I'm looking at my side. If I've got 7 upgrades to do, like 7 rookies to get off the field, essentially I need 14 trades to go 1 up and 1 down, and that's being generous. I probably need about 20 trades because you can't always go 1 up, 1 down. So let's say I've got 20 trades for upgrades, and then if I've only got 28 trades, those other 8 trades are purely for sideways and primos that I don't think are top 10 or purely injury trades. So if I've got 6 players to upgrade and I've got 28 trades, I'm okay. If I've got 7 or 8, then I'm a little bit more iffy and I don't want to boost. So it all depends how many rookie upgrades you've got left. Like if you've got 5, you can sideways the hell out of players and get a leg up. But if you've got 7 or 8 and you haven't made a single upgrade yet, and you're just going to have to hold these sort of fake primos and hold your Robertses. Like this week, I could have traded out Finn, but all I did was get rid of Sam Powell, Pepper, and Nod. So I got rid of 2 rookies, and I went Brayshaw and Clay Hall. If I had have went and traded 2 primos, like Finn and Rosie, to 2 other primos, I would still be at the exact same down as Primos as I was last week. But by going one up, one down, and grabbing a Brayshaw, now I've got Brayshaw, Finn, and Ed Richards as opposed to Hewitt and Saligo. I'm still one up with the Primo side of things. So I think it's better to upgrade your team around your Roberts, around your Clayton Olivers, around all these other options than going sideways, because we've already seen Sheasel go 50, seen Horn Francis drop a 150, Gorns turn around. And this is, you've done all this preseason research, listened to all these content, and then to back out of a pick like a Finn now, unless you can grab a track who's going to be top of his line, then that makes more sense to then go, all right, I'm going to flip him into him. But only because it's the same price. I'm not going to turn Roberts into Whitfield and waste 200k, but I'm happily going to waste 50k and turning Finn into a track to a guy that's top of his line, but not 200k. That's how I look at it.
100%. And I think like the best example we saw of that was like the Horn Francis situation, where in a world you won if you did the right trades. So if you say, for example, did like a Humpty and Marek, or you did a Marek and a Primo from Horn Francis, you essentially still got a rookie off field for a safer, higher score while making some cash gen. So that was a win. Yes, he got burnt by a spike score, but it was never guaranteed to happen. Let's be honest. The trade out was based on form alone, not on Butters apparently being back in. It just so happened that he turned it around, got an absolute whipping during the week, and did what he did. If you just went, say, for example, Horn Francis to Smith and moved a rookie on, and you still had the same amount of rookies on field, I think you might have lost in that situation because you're technically one behind now. Because you've just done a sideways. Again, for good value, there's definitely logic and all that. And there's, again, the common theme with all this sort of stuff too, we have sound logic when it comes to making our trades, and then the week plays out, and then we kick ourselves for making those trades because hindsight's a pain in the ass. Don't think that you were silly or stupid for doing the trades you did because of the information you had at the time. Like, oh, look out, guys, Brad's laying down. It's getting to that time.
My legs are sore from sitting this way. I was like, now
how are your legs sore from sitting? How are you sitting, bro?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I went to VCAL. So in VCAL, they taught us how to eat crayons but not sit down properly. So,
oh God. God, I would have loved to have gone to school with you. That would have been hilarious. Probably wouldn't have passed year 10, but that's all right.
I don't even know how I passed year 12 VCAL, to be honest.
There we go. Josh, so we talked about that. Jonas, Big J runs a tight ship on Monday. No way rookie crosses the line. I can be presentable, thank you, Jonas. I just happen to be out unfiltered on the After Dark, which is the whole reason why it exists. So the way to give hot takes, have some fun with it, let some stress out, because we all get some built up emotions from Supercoach during the week, whether we like it or not. And this is the place to let it all out. Take your hot takes, rant about your players that provided a 60 when they should have given you a 110. This is the place for it. It's literally a welfare check. But instead of getting like therapy, you just get us.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But she seems to like it. Reckons it's his favorite stream of the week. So thank you so much for that, Chi. We appreciate it. And you guys probably should know that Brad's going to be very consistent on these sort of ones when he's available as well. And we'll also most likely have the other rowdy guests of JG and Scoobs from Swordplay Supercoach Hub as well. So you'll see a rotation of those guys come through on Saturday nights pretty consistently. Big J says go crazy. I might take you up on this on Monday night.
I'm going to walk my
dog. See how it goes. Huh?
I'm going to walk my dog after this because I got pre-workout in my system still.
Oh, you got yourself to blame for that. Big J reckons it's always an upgrade on rookies first. An 80 on field is always better than a 40 and 60, 100%. Yeah, so any way you can keep rookies off field or get them off the field sooner, the better. Jinxie, damn, had a nice nap and you're still live. Mate, would you expect anything less? We're pretty much, as we've said, we pretty much go for as long as needed. Yes, the comments are slow down, but you guys are very good with the engagement. And we're still getting around 80 viewers in here. So you guys are absolutely killing it tonight. So again, if you haven't already, for the third time, probably the last time I'll say it, give the stream a like, give us both a subscribe. You got Supercoach Pro ready to be painted like one of your French girls. Make sure you go give him a sub. And then And then, yeah, sub to the channel as well. And if you feel so inclined, turn the noti bell on to know when we go live with these streams and any uploads. There's also memberships available now. So if you guys want to get amongst that, we will, once we get enough members ongoing, we can do some really cool things with some leagues, some exclusive content, all that sort of stuff. So, and if you are a member, you also get to suggest what you want from the packages as well. So that's also a benefit. Anyway, I don't want to sell that because it's not required at all. Just you guys being here is perfect. Jackson had rate on bench. Yep, I feel like you'll be in the same boat as a few people. You get this on Monday night already, Jonas. This is I dare say the real me. It's, as some would call it, the no snowflake version.
Yeah, definitely.
So I reckon most lads from the Ds you hold for the time being have the E's and Richmond with upcoming fixtures. 100%. Unless it's Henderson, you drop him straight away.
Yep.
Supercoach Lock, still hanging in there, mate. You've been in here for a while. Appreciate you sticking around. Would you take TDK's VC score or roll the dice on Whitfield? Could Winhager go to Whitfield or Finn or Green? I'll let you take this one for the first get, Brad.
I'd take it. I'd take we saw what happens last week and the week before with some of these VC scores that we didn't take, and then we got burnt bad. So 118 is a pass this week, I think. What's your take?
I definitely tend to agree. I think that given the chaos that we've seen, and especially around maybe captaincies in the midfield, it gets a bit sketch. So I think most people would probably go like a 120 is a pass mark, but I think the risk tolerance has gotten a bit too high. So I think people are more leaning towards a 115 plus is probably, in a maybe around where the fixtures aren't so friendly for your safe captaincy options. I reckon, yeah, probably take TDK's VC.
Yep.
If you again, I say that in being there's a different approach if you're just focusing on head-to-heads, which some do. You focus on just cash leagues, they don't care about overall. Then in that case, look at your matchup, see if you can have a point of difference in that way. Like maybe someone's got a Brayshaw captained and you want to, like for example, my cash league matchup have Brayshaw captained. We've got a few different players, but ultimately they're still around about the same. So I'm opting, may not work for a Whitfield captain just to see if I can get ahead in any way or form. So there's that to consider as well. If you had to pick in your situation, I imagine you're going for overall. So I would probably just take TDK's VC score if you can easily. I know people are stressing about the boy situation, but I don't think he plays. Jonas, comfortably creepy. There's your tagline for the new channel. I'll make sure I build that into the graphics.
Kind of makes sense. I've said some weird things in chats and just been left on red sometimes. Not on ours.
Do you guys? No. I was gonna. You've still done that on ours. Oh man, guys! If you saw some of the behind the scenes stuff, Brad wouldn't have a channel.
Even this stuff is so like edgy. Like I take it to the extreme, and I'm like, one day my Twitter's going to get shut down for sure.
Yeah, well, if you need any help with that, ask Goobs. He's pretty good at bouncing back.
I'd rather be edgy and raw. It's probably a bad combination, but then be vanilla and boring.
Jeez, you just sound like every wannabe emo kid from 2006. But all right.
Hey, that was my year. I was born in 91.
All right, old. You're old, man. It's all right. I'm not far behind you, but you're old. I'm still technically 29, so I'm not there yet. Do you guys know how past winners have navigated Supercoach? Do they have a start slow or build, or do you have to be in the top 5% by a certain time period? I'm going to give this to you purely because I've only really been in the Supercoach system for, like, this is my second year. So my knowledge doesn't extend too far back historically. Brad is the mature age rookie in this situation, so he can give you more context on this.
I don't really know. I mean, I've tracked a few, maybe like the top 10 sort of players, and it seems like they've just had a good start from the get-go, and then they've tried to maintain that by boosting or by trading aggressively, and then they've had no trades for the last 2 months. So normally the aggressive coaches in the last few years have been the ones more successful. I didn't really read up about the last year's Supercoach, but I think, put it this way, if you're in the top 2,000-3,000 consistently and you're pretty much thereabouts, and you're only a couple hundred by a month or two ago, a month to go roughly, I think you're on track for being a really good shout at it. But if you're like sitting at 10K and it's 4 rounds to go, you're stuffed. So I think this is where, when all our teams look similar, I think if you're going to pick a pod, you just pick a pod with 20 rounds to go as opposed to 6 or 7. Because like your
Mm,
George Hewetts and stuff, if you can run a George Hewitt and hope that he's your M1 over someone running Neil at M1, and let's say Hewitt scores 150 points more than him for the whole entire year, you're going to win. And I think a lot of these Supercoach top 10s, top 20s, or whatever have 1 or 2 pods in each line at least. They've done
mm.
something different. They've traded super aggressively. They've had no trades and just been absolutely kissed by no one being injured in their teams. And sometimes I've been like infuriated because I'm like, how did they get away with no trades in the last 6 weeks to go? You're
Yeah.
800 points down, so they just play super aggressive. I don't know if there's many that have had bad start and come their way back, but Supercoach is so tight, mate. So it's like I don't really worry
Mm.
about it. I feel like if you're in top 1,000 now, you're a massive shout.
Yeah, and I think like the logic stands that if you start higher in the ranks, then you've probably got a better shot at maintaining that, and have a
Yeah.
better chance of coming back, even if you go down a few notches. I think if you're anywhere in the top 1%, there's always a chance if you play it right. Um, there's so many different ways to play Supercoach from just spending my time in here. Like Joven played complete value, so he was last year's winner. He played complete value, didn't pay for anyone over 600K. And he was supposedly getting upgrades and rookies off field sooner than anyone. Went for some pod picks, and that is why that's why pods exist. Is you want points of different players that provide different, because if you're going against let's just say you got someone at 60% ownership, and then you're anti-podding him with someone maybe at 10% ownership, and you're betting on the fact that that player at 10% ownership is going to outscore them over the season more and provide you a bit more of a return. Um, Sometimes, again, as Brad said, luck does play a fair factor into it. Some
Yeah.
people have a very strict like risk tolerance with players. So some might not go for players over 31, 30. Some might not go for players that have injury cloud or soft tissue injury concerns just because of that risk of them re-injuring themselves. There's so many different ways to play. Not one method of playing Supercoach guarantees you the win because there is a factor of luck to play into that, which you can't do anything about. It's just luck of the draw. And yeah, Jack's touching on some good points here as well. Being that the main takeaway is target value is the massive one, as I just said, and just take some risk as well. And again, everyone has a different tolerance to risk, so you got to kind of play your way. And honestly, as well, do you try to enjoy it? Like if you are actually mentally in the hole for the whole season of footy because you're really trying to get that 50K, but you're almost clinically depressed for that whole period, and then even worse when you don't win because of some bad luck with a injured player or a bad captaincy score in the later rounds. Yeah, maybe not the game for you potentially. Like it's footy. Footy is such an abundant community. Supercoach has a great community. Try to actually enjoy the process, and I hope, Mick, that hanging out with us and hopefully you're hanging around with other content creators that helps build that sense of community and makes the whole experience enjoyable for you as well, especially given that you've mentioned that you're ranked in the top 200, and you really feel like you can make a run for the 50K, which is awesome. So best of luck for you, Mick. I'm sure there's a lot of things coming around with it as well. Anything else that Jack said that we haven't touched on? Not necessarily. Suppose if you win the whole thing, you have to be kissed. Yeah, essentially, that's pretty much it, isn't it?
Kind of are at some point.
Yeah, we've been kissed at many points across the season. Let's
Because you've
put it that
dodged
way.
bullets as well. Like the game is 50% luck, 50% skill. And
Mm.
a lot of it comes down to your starting side, Mick.
Yeah. So Jack has said this as well. This because you've mentioned that you're in a bunch of cash leagues. This does differ how you should approach Supercoach.
Yeah.
Because there's going for overall rank, which means you approach the game slightly differently
Mm.
versus you're essentially playing week by week against your matchup. And
Do
you're
you know
pretty
what?
much
Sorry, go on.
no, go.
Do you know what's funny? I actually have this point I've forgotten to mention a million times. If you play for overall, you're probably going to win your cash leagues. The amount of times you stuff up a captaincy just based on like who your matchups look. I never, in 8 seasons of playing this, I've never switched my captain just for a head-to-head, even in a cash league.
Mhm.
I've always played for overall. The stronger you play for overall, the better your side is in general. Because sometimes you'd be too sexy with a pick just because your opponent doesn't have him. Let's
Mm.
say like the top 1% all have Sarong and Brayshaw this week at captain, and you go anti-captain and you go someone like I did, like Finn Callahan last week.
Mm.
You're stuffed. Like, you're better off just going with playing for rank, even though the cash leagues are huge, because if you play for rank more times than not, you're going to actually win your cash league anyway.
For sure. For sure. And I think I've noticed that too in my time as well. Is, last season I ended up, when at the start of the season was much better for me than the end of the season because I was just being aggressive and silly and figuring out how to play Supercoach more than anything. But yeah, when I had a good week overall, I won all my leagues.
Yep.
Like, there was no cash leagues involved or anything like that. Like, I'm only in one cash league, which is like Scott Father's massive one. So yeah, I don't really feed cash into this sort of thing just because I enjoy it. Like, I'm a bit sparkly, and by sparkly I mean ADHD like, so the stats and everything behind it just tickle all the brains. Yeah, so Jack says the thing is the risk side, unless leagues are your main goal for overall, just understand we're not doing these risky trades at some points. And like Rook said, enjoy your pods. Yeah,
Yep.
that's very much it. And thank you for hanging out and asking like really good questions, Mick. So you two are a legend. Anything like this, like these are really good questions and don't just benefit you, but benefit anyone watching as well. Whether you're an experienced super coach or a rookie like myself or a mature age rookie, that happens to be Brad. It's really good.
I can't read sarcasm sometimes, so if I sound defensive, it's because I generally don't know how to read sarcasm sometimes. So if anyone takes
He's
a piss, I'm so bad at reading it.
he's always offended. Let's just put it that way. He's not. He's not. He's probably the one person you can't offend because he probably either doesn't care or doesn't understand.
Probably the latter, yeah.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Well, you said that, so that's fine. Jack reckons personally, I don't think the starting sign's a big deal. Not necessarily. Like, I think it's a bit of column A, column B with this one. I think it benefits you greatly if you start well, but given we have boosts in that, I don't think it hurts you as much as it used to.
I think having a starting team means you have more luxury trades at the end of the season for injuries and
Yeah.
sideways and primos that are underperforming. So anytime I've started well, I've normally finished in the top 5K. Anytime I've started outside top 20K, I've just been mediocre.
Yeah,
Mm.
for sure. For sure. Jonas finished in the top 50 a few years ago and lost all the cash leagues to teams ranked 10 to 30K who
Oh
came
my
home
God.
strong. But that's the thing, right? Is like some people approach it quite differently because, like, yeah, you finished overall in the top 50. Awesome. Sure, there's no like rewards or anything like that. But those teams that knew they weren't like I think it's quite common that when they know they're out of the run to grab the 50K, they stop worrying about overall and shift to their cash leagues and they play and approach it in a purely different way. At least that's what I've seen with some players and content creators, and that's what they do.
Wow.
James mentions also depends on the leagues if they have finals or not. Every year we have this one mate who uses 3 boosts 3 weeks out from finals, just trading primos to other primos that are in form or have easy fixtures. Easy games and fixtures.
Wow.
So again, just a number one of those, like, it's a very nerdy term because of like the video games I used to play, but it's a bit of theory crafting where you build your own pattern and method of playing a game that some don't do, just like James's mate does. Lachlan's still hanging out with us. Thank you for being here, mate. You've been here quite a while, so appreciate you hanging out with us. Is it just me? But Supercoach has helped my gambling. Used to bet on every game. Now I just watch Supercoach players, knowing I'm not losing any money, but still rage the same amount.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. That's
solid.
really good for him. Yeah, because we have this issue in our culture at the moment, in particular our guys our age doing this kind of stuff, and if Supercoach helps that, mate, that's the best way to do it. Because you don't want to be on the other side of having a bad gambling issues or anything. So
yeah,
anyway.
and for anyone that does follow me on X, you would have seen me call out Supercoach for their whatever the betting sponsorship is and how they push that sort of stuff. I'm very against that. Like, I'm not to get too personal, but a family member got heavily affected by a gambling addiction, and I saw all the worst case scenario in regards to that and how much damage it can do not only to that person but the relationships around that. So I'm very strong in my stance that I don't gamble myself. Like, I take random punts here and there on silly things like, I think it's like Track Star or Track Bet, electronic horses when I'm out on a boys' weekend, and we just put one on. Like, I won a random mystery trifecta. I put $5 on, and it came out as 500, and I shouted dinner and the drinks, sort of thing. So like, I'm very hard on my stance, and if anyone is struggling with that sort of stuff, please come into our streams. We are more than happy to talk about it. Even though it's not directly Supercoach related, this is more of a community strength thing. So I want to make sure everyone, feels like they can speak about whatever they need to.
With,
Again, go.
one time my shift got cancelled last year. I'm not recommending doing this, obviously, but I was like, oh no, how do I make up the money? So I did a stupid multi on Freo on Bulldogs game and won my shift money back because I don't normally, obviously, gamble or bet, but the possessions for some of these players were like stupid odds, and Dogs players that were easy to do it with. So I got to watch the game for free, and I think someone kicked the goal in the last minute for it to get up. So I actually won my shift money back because my shift got cancelled, and I was like, oh no, I'm struggling with cash this week because I had to do a car service. Got up and my shift got paid for, and I got to watch the footy. Apart from that, I maybe once a year, that's it. I don't do it at all.
Yeah. I say, and there's nothing like, if you got the control to do it once a year or a couple times a year, depending on the event. I know some people that don't gamble any other time than, say, like the Melbourne Cup, and that's the only time they do it, and that's like their rule.
Yeah.
That's fine. Like, as long as you're not gambling your life savings or something like that, and it's just a cheeky little, $20 bet or something, like a meal, enough to cover a coffee or a meal. I think you're perfectly fine. Jonas, Tom Stewart, suspension, and Aaron Hall hammy also cost me the top 10 finish. Ooh. That's that luck playing into it. Also, while we're also speaking more about personal topics, I do want to shout out Brad as well. Can you please plug your mental health run thing that you're doing?
Yes. So in mid-May, I'll put it in the comment below after this stream. I'll be doing a Beyond Blue run. So that's a 6-kilometer run. I'll send the link as well. I'll put it on my Twitter as well recently. I'll do that tonight. And basically, it's just to do the fundraising for mental health, particularly men's mental health, because we don't speak about it enough at all. I've been probably struggling, I reckon, for the last 2 years since having my first kid. Not long ago. So ever since that, I never really found an outlet. And then I started doing live streams. I was going to finish Supercoach, I think, last year. And then I got to a point where I was like, I just want to speak to the people in a live stream, see how it goes. And got talking with people like Cheese, Jack, Skizfits, all these people that engage with the live stream. So I started doing the live streams last year. Caught on fire this year as well. And I know we met through Supercoach. We had a kick of the footy and stuff. And I think without the people in the live streams distracting me from work and not being able to see my little one as much as I'd like to because of certain situations. And I remember looking into therapy down in Geelong, and it was so bloody expensive that I was like, you know what? I'll just go to gym. I'll start live streaming more. I'll make a Twitter for Supercoach. And that's kept me busy because then you get sent things like Jack has sent me a few things on TikTok before that are really nice and like just heartwarming. It was like the one he sent me the other day was about just you being you sort of thing. I was like, bro, I actually really needed this today. So doing this run for me is going towards a cause. Just it's not going towards any of my pocket, FYI. So when I put that link, no one has to feel obligated to sponsor this run, but whatever does get sponsored to goes directly to the foundation that I'll be running for next month. So I'll let you guys know that in the comments, but I just think it's important if you ever needed to DM us. I know people probably said this before, but we're happy to reach out and reply to you back as well. It's just something that I think it's so expensive, and that's the thing that shits me about it. Like when I did reach out, it was like $220. It was like 3 months away and all this kind of stuff. So I was like, maybe if I do this run, it will open other people's eyes up to it's okay to speak. And the last thing you want is, you attending your mate's funeral and shit like that. And I've had that happen a few times before already, and I'm only 33. So for me, that's why I'm doing this cause, and this is why I think I've engaged in live streams with people like yourself. Like, there's such good blokes in the community that we can chat to and talk Supercoach and just chill out and take the piss, and that's what I love about doing it.
Yeah. No, awesome stuff, mate. Again, definitely get behind him. We'll be doing when we get closer to the date in May. It's in May, isn't it? If I'm
Yeah,
remembering that correctly. We'll do a dedicated Supercoach after dark, where any like super chats or anything like that go directly to supporting this man right here on that run. So we'll make sure that's posted everywhere, and make sure it's not too close to his run so he can get his rest for the run. But again, to summarize and touch on that as well, we've everyone goes through their struggles. Life is never easy. There's always going to be ups and downs, and it's good to have whether it's content creators that just lend an ear and you can get amongst us and chat about stuff, and not necessarily Supercoach related. Like we're all people here just enjoying Supercoach, but again, like I started doing this last season on a whim, and ended up meeting Brad and a couple of others, and made some really good mates out of it. So it's been absolutely legendary. And again, we've all seen our fair share of shit that goes wrong. So definitely not weak to speak. Please remember that. I don't care if it's us. I don't care if you reach us on X or Twitter or in the comments. By all means, if you need an ear or whatever it is, just say something, because we'd rather you take up some airtime and have a good chat with us than sit and stew on it for days and weeks on end. So heavy stuff. I love that. Supercoach After Dark, providing all the goods: Supercoach, reality checks, and support.
100%.
And it couldn't have said it any better than myself for Jonas. Lockie Bramble responsibly, don't Rex Hunt recklessly. Love it. Love that. Mark says, love it this year because of all the Supercoach channels to follow like yourself. Thank you so much, Mark. We appreciate it. There's definitely a few of us going on in the space, and definitely seems like the live streams are picked up from a lot of channels. So there's definitely plenty going on. Seems like almost every night. So as some would say, I think a particular person in this chat would say we almost need a guide, like a channel guide, a fixture, a schedule, so everyone knows where. And I feel like something does need to happen because it's gotten crazy over the last couple of months. Back to something more Supercoach related, just quickly. Mick says, do you think champion data has changed and not for the better? A lot of strange results. We can't even answer this because we don't know, but it seems like things have changed, to be honest. Hoodoo Guru, love that name. Sinclair also wrong for captain tomorrow. Goes wrong, I think.
I think so.
Lockie opened to talk about his addiction and how it affected his dad and relationships, and how he's found Supercoach pretty much to help, and he's come a long way. So big shout out to you, mate, Lockie, for coming as far as you have, and I'm sure you're going to keep on this road and kick the ass of the addiction that does suck. It is a life sucker, a bit of a leech itself. So proud of you, mate. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time. And please do reach out to any of us in the community if you do need any help with any of that. So doing well, mate. Keep your head up. Absolutely amazing stuff. Brad is a legend, guys, just ever so quickly. So they seem to be very much in the same boat and back when you win. Lockie wants the link. So make sure you guys go check out Brad on X for the link. Actually, let me see. I can actually probably get the link from your profile and put it in chat now for those that do want it.
It's been a while since I've reposted it too, so.
All right, let me find it. I'll find it. Give me 1 minute.
I need to start running for it too because I've been hitting too many weights and too many HSPs.
Too many HSPs. I mean, look, considering the size of the HSPs you buy, man, that's not surprising.
Yeah, man. Oh.
Very good. Oh, there's your MBM box. Oh, here we go. Awesome. Let me see if I can. All right. I'm going to post this link in the chat. This is the link to go support Brad and his run. So if you guys are behind him and you just want to back him up, give him some support for that. Again, as he said, all donations go straight to the cause. No money goes to him. Even if he does need CPR after he absolutely dies on the run.
Yeah, actually.
I'm sorry, mate. Technical support does not cover that. So you might be on your own there. So yeah, I don't know if it's clickable, but you can just copy it and paste it. So by all means, go do that. Yeah, Sherry says, good on you, mate. Open about it, bloody hard. The best thing you can do is, yeah. And that's right. It's not easy, and it never is easy to open up, especially when you've almost be conditioned to, not be quiet and kind of take it on the chin because you're a man and you have to suck it up and do all that stuff. Like totally get it. By all means, Mark's has been known for 36 years. Look, that'd be tough, mate. That'd be tough, but I can probably assume that you know a lot about yourself and very sure of who you are, which I think is most people probably don't know who they truly are. So I think there are benefits and the silver linings you can look for in that as well. And I'm sorry if I get life coachy on you. I used to be a life coach. I used to help men in particular with these issues. So I am very passionate about this stuff. Rollo, great work with the community support, fellas. Setting a good example here for plenty of others. I mean, look, we're pretty varied. We go from one end where we talk utter shit and take the absolute piss to this. So
Yeah.
I'd say it's a healthy balance.
Yeah, I got it. If I don't let out all my different personalities and stuff, I don't want to be bottled up. And sometimes that's a hard thing too. Like, I'm not trying to mask anything with trying to be too funny because they do. I'm not saying I'm overly funny, but they do say like a lot of the funny, happy people are always actually struggling with things, and that's what been the huge thing with myself. Like, I can come on a stream, I can do any of these things, and I can mask it so well. As whereas when I saw this opening to do this run that's so close to home here around the corner, I was like, I can finally do something about it. And the run's going to be emotional, and they also give you like I had to pay for it, of course, like a little plaque that gives you your time run that you've done it in. So I'll put that on my YouTube channel and how fast I did it in, and can see how fast or slow I am. But yeah, it'll be emotional. I'm probably doing it a lot for myself, but others out there, and also for my little boy as well. So
yeah, and that's it, right? Things get even a bit more on a deeper level when you do have kids, and I have kids myself as well, and they definitely make life put life in a different perspective for you, and kind of definitely wake you up in certain ways that sometimes you weren't ready for, and sometimes you just needed to. And I definitely had that experience as well, being a very young dad. And I will maybe not the time for it now because it is getting late, and Brad needs some energy for the gym tomorrow, even though he says he's going to go walk his dog. We will probably look to wrap it up in a moment's time. But yeah, mate, honestly, what much more can we say? Lockie again says that loves that we have that dynamic of being able to have a good laugh, but also show support and talk about the real shit that does happen day to day for I'd say most men in the society. And even if you're not a man, it doesn't matter who you are. Everyone struggles. Everyone has their hard days and good days. So appreciate the comment. We are trying to make a lovely community here, and please know that whoever is on Supercoach After Dark streams very much follows suit with what me and Brad just spoke about, whether it be JG or Nathan. Most content creators will also follow that. So Mick will make you the last question for the night, who goes, Brad, what is your 6K time target?
I don't know, but I know I'm going to blow my own horn here. In cross countries and sprints and all the athletics stats, I used to always come first, but I haven't run in 3 years. So it's like a primo that's coming back from an ACL 3 years ago, who used to score 120 trying to run a 6K. Like, I haven't run in since COVID, mate. So I don't know what my time's going to be. I should start running tonight with the dog, but I've only got 4 weeks to do this, so I don't know what time I'm going to get.
Yeah. There you go. Jonas said Cheese will bring some spare clothes in case you throw up during or after the run. Look, Cheese might actually steal the clothes off Brad's back because they're probably cleaner than his, given how much he throws up. Especially if he's drunk tonight too. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for hanging out, everyone. Thank you, Jonas. Yeah, big shout out to everyone for hanging out with us. We've had consistently around 80 viewers, which is an absolutely amazing turnout. For consistency, there's about 60 of you in here. So you guys are the real OGs, the real degenerates, and we appreciate you spending time with us. Brad, where can the people find you?
Yeah, the channel is just called Supercoach Pro. I'm sure you'll link that up for me in there. I think it's already there. And then my Twitter's a bit raw, so I know I've talked about a lot of like deep stuff. So if you do see some raw, random Twitter stuff where you're like, this guy's wild, it's Supercoach Pro 91. So don't think I'm a nutcase on there. I just like to have a bit more fun on there. So if you want to see an MA rated Twitter that's a bit wild and a bit crazy with some of the puns intended, you can follow that. But yeah, my YouTube is my main go, is live streams and stuff and team reviews and Supercoach Pro.
Awesome stuff. Appreciate you being here with me, Brad, as always. For myself, again, you can find me at Rookie Coach AFL on X. Same for YouTube as well. Make sure you guys like the stream, show some support, chuck a subscribe to both our ways. Again, go donate to Brad's cause. If you want to become a member on this channel, just to get involved, do some exclusive stuff, that would be awesome. Lockie just said he did donate to your cause as well. So big
Thank you.
props to Lockie, you absolute legends, mate. Love your work. Love your
Thank
work.
you.
But with that said, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. It's been an absolute pleasure. You guys are you going to jump on a stream tomorrow night with Goobs and JG tomorrow night, Brad?
I should be able to. I won't know how long for, but I should be down for that.
So me and Brad are probably going to jump on a couple streams tomorrow night on the Supercoach Silver Play channel with Scoobs and JG. So if you want to catch us a bit earlier than our usual schedule, go there. There will be the round review for myself coming out tomorrow night, and also the stream on Centre Bounce for the review crew Monday night as well. Any final words?
Nah, just thanks to everyone for the support and thanks for the love today. So I've appreciated jumping on your channel as usual. And if we get time tomorrow to do a gym sesh, we will, and get ready because this will be a full body session.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll see you in the next one.
Cheers.